swinging away and socks this to deep left field. That is gone! Bryson
Where the pulse with the ball. It's a chest high snap. He looks down the middle of the field. He's going to throw the ball run. Has the man in the field. Intercepted! Intercepted, taking it down the far sideline. He steps out of bounds right at the line of scrimmage. And that's how you cap the game up. Jabril White called game on his third interception of the evening.
Sierra Smith quickly worked around, feeding the hot hand. Jasmine got it! 3 threes for number 23.
He finds Edwards. Edwards needs to get the shot up. Pulls up a deep three. Able to knock it down.
The counterattack. Here comes Carla Ramos forward, looking for Noelle Lemus. She's gotten by the last defender. Bounty comes out. Noelle drills the keeper. Lemus. And that is a DVC victory. The Vikings.
Friday Night Lights in college football. We are live here on DVC Vikings Live with our camera operator, Dave Lazama, broadcast operator, Ryan Shell, spotter, Zane Massey, sideline reporter, Colin Dolvin, and our color commentator, Caleb Cranach. My name is Max Agressman. We got a full team in the booth today for some DVC Vikings football. Tonight at Viking Stadium, we've got a collision between two teams who finished in the top 15 of the 3C2A rankings in 2022. The Fresno City College Rams come to Diablo Valley College to take on the Vikings. Both teams completed their 2022 campaigns with a 7-4 record. They finished with bowl game victories against some really tough opponents. You had Fresno City in a super rainy game, beating Butte 13-10, and that's who DVC actually plays next week. And then DVC, obviously, one of the craziest games we've ever seen. They beat Sierra 36-28 in another pouring rain game here on this home surface. We got a bright and sunny, lovely day. It's about 70 degrees outside, and man, we're in for a treat. So for the visiting Vikings of the visiting Rams of Fresno City College, they're led by their veteran head coach, Tony Cavella. He's entering his 24th year as this head coach of this program, and they're looking to get a hot start. They lost to DVC last year in the opening game. They ended up going 1-3 before bouncing back on a 5-game winning streak, so they're looking to get a better start this time around.
Yeah, the Revs are returning their top two running backs this season, 5'11 sophomore, 210-pounder Amarion Gaines-Smith, and number 7, 6'3", 220-pound sophomore Xavier Ali. They also returned their leading touchdown receiver in the 6'4", 200-pounder Josiah Ayo. He had 26 catches for 446 yards and 8 touchdowns last year, so look for both of those guys in this game tonight.
Yeah, and the Rams have a really interesting guy playing quarterback for them this year, Alec Trujillo. He's a 6', 180-pound veteran quarterback who's entered this season with a whole ton of experience at a bunch of different places. He played at the historical San Joaquin Memorial High School, where he had a tremendous career over there, and then ended up getting a scholarship to play over San Jose State. So he redshirted 1 year, played there 1 year, and then after that time, he ended up going over to Iowa Central, where he hurt up his knee, and then he bounced back over to Fresno State on a preferred walk-on. So this guy's got 2 more years of eligibility. He's going to use one of them to play here tonight and to play here this season over at Fresno City College. And, man, he's just looking to have a great season and see if he can play his last year in 2024 over at another big-time school like he's really been to so many times. And on the other side of the ball for the Rams defense, they lost a lot of different players. They had 3 players move on to the 4-year level, so they're going to have to rely on some of the players last year that got some action that are returning sophomores going into this year.
Yeah, this defense also has plenty of talent. Kevin Washington, the 6'1", 205-pound sophomore, he's a defensive back out of Miami Central. Will definitely be someone to keep an eye on. He's a really big-bodied defensive back who can cover very well and is also a threat in the run game as well. He's going to be a big leader this year. He had 32 tackles, 5 sacks, 1 interception, 7 tackles for loss last season. Also, another guy to look out for is the sophomore defensive tackle, Jeremiah Sheaton. In 8 games, he totaled 20 total tackles, 6 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. He can be a big impact player. Against Sierra College last year, he had 3 consecutive sacks in a row. And last but not least for this defense, number 36, Rowdy Brand. He will look to make a big mess of this Vikings offense. He's a 6'2", 220-pound sophomore at Edison High School, and he will be playing that joker kind of hybrid linebacker defensive role for the Rams this year.
Yeah, that hybrid, you see it. It's the Khalil Mack type of thing where they're listed as a DM, but they're a DM, but they're listed as a linebacker. So that's what they call the joker now. So for your DVC Vikings, the Vikings are led by their first-year interim coach, Austin Corrali. He is going to be taking over for the legend coach Mike Dar, who held this position for over a decade. Coach Dar, if you're listening, we love you, and best of luck in your coaching stint out there in the great state of Texas. So Corrali will be entering his third season with the Vikings, however, and looking to build the legacy of DVC Viking football. Taking over for the defensive coordinator position will be another familiar face to Vikings fans in Travis Ricidi. Ricidi has a lot of football experience, played 4 years over at San Jose State, multiple-time Mountain West accolades over there, played 3 years over in the NFL, and he stems from that Coach Dart tree. So him taking over at that defensive coordinator position isn't going to be too much of a difference of what we've seen before. He coached defensive line here in 2019. He was the head coach right across the street over at College Park. So expect that aggressive scheme similar to what you've seen in years past. And yeah, Ricidi is going to be a heck of a coordinator for the Vikings this year. On the other side of the ball, offensive coordinator will now be Dave Garcia. Man, Coach Garcia has been here for over a decade as well. He's another living legend in this Vikings program. He'll be the associate head coach, offensive coordinator, and also be helping out with the offensive line. Garcia is going to be coming out here and really running the similar offense that we've seen last year, led by Drew Anderson. Anderson ended up going over to Butler, so he's a coach over there at the D1AA level. So, Coach Anderson, if you're out there listening too, we love you, buddy. But yeah, so expect to see a bunch of that really explosive offensive scheme we've seen in the past, mixed with a little bit more physicality. You know, when you got a big man as a coach, you come in, and they like to run the ball and really pound that rock. So let's talk about this Vikings offense now. 12 offensive players from last year went to the 4-year level. 7 of them went D1. I mean, how many times can you really talk about two?
Decided to come back and to continue to showcase his game here at DVC. Last year in 2022, he was the Vikings' leading receiver with 54 catches for 847 yards and 3 touchdowns. Along with that, he was the runner-up for Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, just an amazing season last year. He was an All-Bay 6 selection and a first-team All-California selection, so a great season last year. He'll look to continue to pile on that. At running back for the Vikings, they bring back their leading rusher in number 2, sophomore Gavin Cribb. Last season, Cribb had 167 rushes for 769 yards and 12 total touchdowns. He was an All-Bay 6 selection as well. So look for him to have a big season tonight.
Yeah, everybody wants that 1,000-yard marker, but you got to remember, these NFL guys playing 17 games to get to that 1,000-yard mark. Cribb played 11, and he got really high up there. So expect a lot out of Cribb this year as he's coming back despite having a bunch of those D1AA offers.
Yeah, after a hard-fought quarterback battle in camp as well, there will be a new face at quarterback for the Vikings. The Pittsburgh High graduate, Jerry Johnson, has earned the nod this year. He returns to East Contra Costa County after spending 2021 gray-shirting at San Mateo, recovering from a shoulder injury in the 2022 season, serving as the quarterback. Johnson is a pro-style quarterback who's looking to showcase his talent for this team.
Yeah, and on defense, the Vikings got quite a bit of talent coming back. I mean, just a bunch of guys that really contributed a lot.
Yeah, returning this year is sophomore linebacker Nico Bowler. He returns, changing his number from 42 to number 6 this season. He was a top 5 tackler for the Vikings last year with 33 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2.5 forced tackles for loss. Look for him to have a big game tonight. In the defensive backfield, we have sophomore safety Jaden Prince. He returns after tallying up 29 total tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble, along with an interception in 2022. Sophomore corner Adrian Marcia will also be a big piece this year. He was number 6 in total tackles last year. He had 31 total tackles, number 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception, 2 pass breakups, and a block.
Yeah, and lining up on the other side, and we actually got a correction. So Marshawn, we've been saying his name wrong all the time. Sorry about that to him and his family. But yeah, he's going to be an impact player. And on the other side of the ball from him, we've got a new face. He's going to be an impact transfer this year. The 6'2", 195-pound sophomore defensive back, Marcel Anderson, has come to play with the Vikings. The D1 bounce back played over at Utah Tech before transferring over to Chabot College, where, I mean, what a heck of an athlete. Football and track. It's rare that you see 2 sport athletes over at the college level. Anderson's got a whole lot of eyes going in this year. I mean, guys like Texas and Colorado, a bunch of the big-time schools are looking out for him this year, so we're going to have a lot of eyes on this program. Julie, because of him. Last year, he had 9 D1 AA offers, and man, he's just looking to prove himself even more. The biggest difference for him this year, instead of playing safety, he's going to move down to the line. He's going to be playing some defensive back this year. So we're in for a heck of a show as kickoff of the 2023 football season is on the way on the other side of the break here on DVC Vikings Live. Kicking it right to left is the Fresno City College Rams. They're out in their red helmets with the white jerseys and the red legs. For the Vikings, they're white domes, green jerseys, green white pants, white numerals, and white and green trim. So the kicker for Fresno City College lines up, raises his hand, and he boots this one away. It's a low line drive kick that's fielded right at the goal line, and the Vikings will start their first possession after this return out to the 25-yard line and brought down after a 25-yard return as the scrum hits the ground. Rowdy Brand comes up to make the first tackle of the game. So the Vikings will come out with their new look offense. Jerry Johnson leading the charge for the Vikings, and he's a pretty humble guy. He's always talking about just having the team come out first. He doesn't want to be the star. He wants the team to really shine as he facilitates for this program.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier, that pro-style kind of quarterback just wants the team to win before anything.
And the Vikings working left to right will come out in a trips pistol look to get this game started. First down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Cribb moves over to the left hip of Johnson. Johnson will pump fake for just a moment and throw a short pass for a gain of 2. That was a pass all the way out to the far-hand side to Brian Pierce Jr. So Pierce Jr. is somebody that we're going to have an eye out for. He's another bounce back coming from UC Davis, a Pittsburgh High guy as well.
Yeah, nice little out route just to get the season going, just kind of get the offense clicking a little bit.
Yeah, he double clutched it for just a moment, so maybe a little bit of these jitters as he's coming to this program for the first time. And the Vikings with Johnson at quarterback will come out from the far hash mark and do the same type of formation, flipped. Johnson, quick throw out to the far hand side, and a knee was taken down after a reception about 5 yards. That is McCall Ely on the catch.
Yeah, somebody we've been talking about a lot, Mikkel Ely.
Yeah, Ely, man, he is something special. A bounce back from Hawaii back in 2022. He medical redshirted after playing 2 games in 2021, and then he's got a lot of eyes on him as well. A ton of returning talent as the Vikings come out and face a 3rd down and short on the 33-yard line with 13:42 remaining. Up back off the right-hand side of the offensive line, and Cribb shifts over to the left side of Johnson. It's a handoff over to Cribb. Cribb with a little shimmy into the backfield, and he's tackled down for a loss of about half a yard. That's Kuma coming from his linebacker position to get the tackle.
Yeah, Kuma read that one perfectly. Right from the jump, shot right through the gap and was able to make the stop.
So the Vikings are going to have to punt. It's a 3 and out to get it going. So maybe some of that weight out of the legs of Jerry Johnson as he comes and talks to his new offensive coordinator on the near sideline. And we'll see what this punting unit can do. Number 19 is the punter out of San Ramon Valley, Zane Hall. He'll be handling almost all of the kicking duties for the Vikings this year as they lose Price and they lose Valley. Price went over to Utah and Valley's over at Nicholls State. So the deep man will be Tabari Rollins, the sophomore wide receiver for the Rams. This punt is a high winding punt angle towards the far sideline, and it'll bounce out of bounds. Let's see where they mark this down at. It looks like it might be just inside of the 40-yard line. It'd be 1st and 10 for the Rams from the 40 as we get to see the quarterback, Alec Trujillo. So Trujillo, man, he lit up the stat sheet back in high school. 11,671 yards passing, along with 116 TDs in his high school career. But he hasn't really played a ton of football. He's been bouncing around all these big-time programs. So let's see what the veteran quarterback can do.
Yeah, a little bit of a mystery coming into this season. See how he performs.
You know he's got a ton of talent, but let's see if it can show itself onto the field. So the Vikings are going to have to get a substitution as maybe there is a piece of equipment issue coming in. So Dylan Leo will come into the game as a replacement corner. So working right to left from the far hash mark at the 35-yard line, officially marked down. It's going to be a pistol look for Trujillo. And some more substitutions here as Leo comes out now. And then in comes Jalen Crane. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but it seems like it worked itself out onto the field now. So 2 receivers tight to the right side of the offensive line, and Trujillo out of that pistol look. Man-to-man coverage across the board as the Vikings showing pressure early on the line. 5-man front for the Vikings, and a jump off sides from the left guard. First play of the game on offense, and that's a penalty on Manuel Hernandez. Jumping offside, I mean, I don't blame him. When you have the Vikings coming out in that muddle offense, or muddle defensive line, I should say, you get confused. You got a bunch of guys standing, one defensive lineman just down. I mean, I don't blame him, man. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I had Nico Buller coming up to the line, looking like he was going to blitz. Might have set him off on that one.
So, similar looking formation out of the shotgun. Now it's first down and 15 from the 30. Trujillo, head high snap, and it'll be a handoff over the right-hand side, running through the first line before being brought down after a gain of 4 on the play. Amaria Gaines-Smith, the ball carrier on the play, and that's Cameron, the defensive lineman, making the tackle. So Cameron Moore, the freshman out of Wood High School. Man, what a big body, 6'7", 260. He's definitely got that D1 frame. Second down and 11 after the rushing play. Up back off the left-hand side. It'll be another hand up. Nope, it's a play-action fake. Toss out to the forehand side and just led his receiver way too far ahead. That's Marcel Anderson on the coverage as the intended receiver was Josiah Aon.
Yeah, he was looking for the go route right off the play right there. Marcel Anderson with some great coverage downfield.
You see why all these schools are coming out to see him this year. It's going to be really interesting. You know he has that physical play coming from the safety position, but now the coverage is going to be on full display. Shotgun set now with the tight end off the left-hand side for the Rams and Trujillo. 2 receivers out to the near-hand side. Vikings looking like they're bringing pressure once again. They bring the pressure. Trujillo standing in the pocket. Rolls out forward. Dives right into a tackler. He'll be brought down for a at the line of scrimmage. And that's Amari Cormier coming from his defensive line position to get the sack. And the Vikings force a 3-and-out on their first try.
Yeah, Amari with a great rush right there. It was able to stop him from getting forward. Going to turn the ball over.
Ryan Pierce Jr., the big number 3 coming out of Pittsburgh as well. A lot of Pittsburgh guys on this roster, so it's good to see the Vikings being able to recruit from their own backyard. And the punter, Lozano, out to boot it away. Lozano's pressured. He gets a low punt off, and this one will bounce down and caught on the single hop at the 25-yard line, brought it out to the 5 yards out to the 30-yard line. And that's Pifferini coming up on the special teams tackle for the Rams. The ball's set down at the 30-yard line, so let's see what this new-look offense is able to do on their second attempt as Jerry Johnson comes back out for the Vikes.
Yeah, 3-and-out on the last drive. Look for them to get a couple of short out routes, maybe a couple quick runs just to try to get a couple first down piled up on this drive. Get the first game jitters out of the way.
Yeah, that's kind of the MO for Gavin Cribb. He's not necessarily a guy that will break it away right away, but you lure them in just a little bit. A few runs here, a few runs there, and all of a sudden he bursts forward for a gain of 30. Pistol spread look from the far hash mark for the Vikings. A 4-man front on the other side of the ball for the team in red and white. It looks like a late substitution here comes onto the field. That's Noah Taylor, the defensive back. A wide snap, but able to handle it well. And Johnson throwing the route down the field and off the fingertips of Brian Pierce Jr. I don't know for sure, but I know those guys definitely have some sort of a connection. They both played at Pittsburgh High School. They're around the same age range, so I wouldn't be surprised if those guys were high school teammates.
Yeah, Pierce Jr., a local guy. Going to have a lot of eyes on him this year. Caught one earlier, but that one just slipped away.
Right off the fingertips, but an open route. The ball was on the money. Now you just got to connect. Twins out to the forehand side, up back off the right side for the Vikings. Out here in the pistol again. Johnson reaches out for the ball, gets it chest high, and it's a stretch out to the right-hand side. Cribb cutting it back up between the guard, and just not much running room in this early going for the Vikings. Only a gain of 1 on the play, and that's Kevin Washington coming up to make the tackle.
Yeah, the Vikings are trying to get Gavin Cribb involved, but so far it's just been stuffed up by this Fresno City Rams.
Yeah, the Rams got quite a good defense. This is something that they lean on. It's just that gap control and really just being on top of it. That's something that all the defensive coaches really hang their heads on. Rick Scheid has been there for, just about as long, if not longer, than Cavilla has. Vikings facing a third down and long will shift the tight end over to the other side. A three-step drop, rolling out to his left-hand side, sheds one defender, eyes down the field, flips it forward, and off the fingertips of McCall Ely. It was a bang-bang play, and there will be no flag called as Trey Carr was there, the freshman out of Clovis. And so, for the second time this evening, Vikings 3 and out.
Yeah, nice job of Johnson able to roll out to the right side. He had Ely down the sideline, but Carr with some great coverage right there to be able to knock it away and send the Vikings on another 3 and out to start the season.
So, you can look at it from two perspectives. You could look at it as the Vikings went 3 and out, both their opening possessions. That's not a good thing. But you could also say, hey, there were a lot of opportunities that they really couldn't capitalize on, and let's see if they're able to capitalize on them next time out. Zane Hall looking to punt it away for the second time. The play clock is going down, and the Vikings with a procedural flag as that'll back him up 5 yards. It looked like Zane Hall just saw the play clock a little too late, and the Vikings will have to back their way out to the 26-yard line. So, rushing off the field as the units converge. The Vikings coming out in that punt. 4th down and 14 from the 26-yard line. And the Vikings will boot it away. Rollins back to return this punt. An end-over-end kick. This one will take a bounce at the 40-yard line and take a big Vikings bounce as it's fumbled onto the ground. The ball is live right now, diving on top of it. Let's see who gets there. I believe the Vikings have gone on top of that ball. Malik Viewins, the linebacker out of Richmond, California, dives on top of that ball after a muff punt, and the Vikings are going to have a golden opportunity down to the 6-yard line.
Yeah, great job by Viewins. Way to get all the way down the field. This is just dropped by Tabari Rollins. He wasn't able to maintain it.
Yeah, at that point, Rollins is just he's a sophomore defensive back. He's been out there for at least a year now, but it's just, the bright lights come on you. It's the first game of the season. You're trying to do a little too much, and you make a big mistake like that. So the Vikings have a golden opportunity as they'll face first down and goal from the 6-yard line with 9:47 remaining here in the first quarter of play. Let's see if this can spark the Vikings offense, and maybe we see a few more different running plays from the Vikings team here in the red zone.
Yeah, like we said earlier, the Vikings have had a couple opportunities so far to start. Not able to convert, but first time in the red zone.
Vikings coming out in a full backfield, two running backs in the backfield for the first time today, and it'll be a handoff over the middle to Cribb as Cribb continues to just churn his feet, only a gain of 2 on the play. Jeremiah Shelton on the tackle for the Rams.
Yeah, that's 3 runs now for Gavin Cribb that had just been stuffed at the line.
But, we talked about this before. Bend, and eventually you see a break. That's part of the reason why you got to respect it. So much patience from the sophomore running back.
And Fresno City also has a very, very big defensive line. Very athletic and very big.
So the Vikings coming out with a tight end off the left-hand side in the pistol look. Looking towards his belt line for the play is Johnson. Johnson with the chest-high snap, fakes the stretch, rolls out to his left-hand side. It's a naked bootleg. Looking, throws it behind his intended receiver. Second down pass is incomplete as McCall Ely wasn't able to get much of a shot at that ball.
Yeah, another missed opportunity. It looked like McCall Ely had beaten his defender. Tough throw for Johnson, moving on the back foot.
So with 8:57 remaining in this opening quarter of the 2023 3C2A season, the Vikings trying to score on a 3rd down and 5 as things have just looked a little bit sluggish so far. Cribb will be right behind Johnson in the pistol look once again. A 4-receiver set from the 5-yard line. Cribb off the right hip. A low snap handle wide side arm sling, and that's a touchdown. Gavin Cribb to the crib. A 5-yard reception for the running back out of the backfield, and the Vikings break the goose egg first. 6-0, the Vikings lead the Rams of Fresno City College with 8:53 remaining here in the first quarter of play.
Yeah, very beautiful little play action fake. Gavin Cribbs runs out right and is wide open with nothing but grass ahead of him.
And that's an underrated part of Cribb's game. He had 33 receptions in very similar plays. So the first passing touchdown of the career here at DVC for Jerry Johnson will go to the fellow sophomore, Gavin Cribb. So the Vikings sending their PAT unit down, and it's a fake to start it off. Throw out, and it's broken up. Talk about rolling the dice early. It looked like the holder on the play was Mateo Reyes was the man to make the stop, rather, as the Vikings try to get a little bit tricky in this early going. So 6-0 will stay the score as the Vikings don't attempt the PAT, as they just try to show a little bit of their riverboat type of play calling in this early going.
Yeah, try to show a little bit of their different personnel. It's a great pass breakup by Mateo Reyes.
And did we get a number on who the holder was? Was that Isaiah Newton, number 15?
Yeah, number 15, Isaiah Newton, the backup quarterback.
Yeah, so that's going to be something to look at. Newton played a few snaps at quarterback last year. Obviously, it's hard to get playing time when you've got 2 Division I quarterbacks in front of you. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Newton come in for a few different looks this year. Cribb will be the holder alongside Newton, so maybe that'll be a little bit of a tell when Newton's in there. Maybe you're trying to do a little bit something sneaky.
I mean, they showed it on that one right there. I mean, first time scoring a touchdown this season, and they're already pulling off a fake. Kind of shows how Newton is going to get involved.
So Zane Hall comes out as the ball is placed down between the hash marks at the 25-yard line. 2 deep men will be Runnels and Williams for the Rams. Hall holds his hand up, jots forward, and a booted away with the right hand. It's a low kick that will angle out and barely get into the end zone. Man, that was a little bit of a rough call there. If the ball went out of bounds, it would have been great starting field position for the Rams for the second time, I should say. But that ball barely kissed the pylon, and the Vikings they get away with one there.
That just hits the pylon by a couple inches. Would have put Fresno City in a wonderful position to start this drive.
You think he's good at golf? If you got a ball placement like that, I think you got to be pretty good at golf, right? So the ball will be spotted down at the 25-yard line, working right to left with 8:53 counting down in this first quarter of play. A full backfield for the first time for Alec Trujillo, the veteran quarterback for this Rams team. Heavy set as they got a tight end there as well. Vikings matching with a ton of pressure in the box, and it'll be a pass. A go route down the far-hand side. Diving attempt, but broken up at the very end of the play. Adrian Marchand was in coverage on the play as they tried to feed the ball over to the far sideline to, I believe that was Najee Cox. You've seen that a few different times now.
Yeah, Cox with a good jump off the ball and was able to get open, but just right off the fingertips.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 25, right to left, working there. Up back off the right-hand side as the Vikings continue to pack the box, and it's a run up the middle. Run straight into the hands of a Vikings defender as the rest of the scrum gets there. And that was a carry from Gaines Smith, and that's tackled down by Chase Robinson, one of those returning players for the Vikings this year.
Yeah, Robinson with a pretty good season last year. Able to get his first tackle to start the season this year on a great read.
So 3rd down and 7 from the 28-yard line with the clock counting down 8:17. Vikings doing a great job on defense, and they'll try to force another 3 and out. Shotgun set, shotgun spread. Trujillo reaches out his hands. Awaits the ball. It's a chest high snap. He rolls out to his right-hand side. Eyes are down the field and throws it late. And is this picked off? No, it's batted away at the end of the play. I know Adrian Marchand wants that ball back. It went right off the fingertips as that ball was thrown into a crowd.
Yeah, that ball was right to Adrian Marchand. Pressure by Nico Bowler. And just a great job by the DVC Vikings.
So Marche is the name, man. First game of the season, we're still getting the jitters out. Adrian Marche, man, he's making so many plays. We've got to get his name right. So the returner for the Vikings will be number 3, Brian Pierce Jr. once again. And the punter, Lozano, pressured heavily as this is a ball that's shanked off the side of the foot. It'll bounce down at the 41-yard line before taking a Vikings bounce. That one goes out of bounds with no return on the play. So the Vikings with a great starting field position on this drive. Maybe that last touchdown pass on the other side of the break will give them a little bit of that mojo back.
Yeah, kind of just get the offense going a little bit. Able to score first, have a lead going into this drive.
So with 7:50 remaining here in the first quarter, the Vikings will get the ball. First down and 10, working left to right from the 44-yard line. This is the 4th time that the Vikings will get the ball in this early going, so back and forth action. And they'll come out with another tight end set. Cribb will motion off the right hip of Johnson as Johnson hands it off. Cribb working with some patience and just tries to turn on the Jets as he breaks through the line of scrimmage, but he's tackled down by the defensive back, Noah Noyola.
Yeah, that was a design inside zone to the left, and he actually
cut it back to the right,
cut it back to the right and was able to get about 4 or 5 on that play. Just shows the vision of Cribb in the backfield.
Can't complain about a 5-yard gain on first down, right? We'll see a bunch of different looks from this offense, but most of them will be in that pistol and be out of the shotgun. So from the near hash mark, Johnson out in the pistol look once again, trips out to the far hand side. The nearest receiver on the inside, Elijah Alonso, kind of that wide receiver tight end mix. Johnson steps up, breaks 1 tackle, and he's eventually taken down. That's a sack and a loss of 2 on the play as Johnson just ran out of time after the pressure from the Rams. Rowdy Brand living up to his name, just that joker position, and when you're named a joker, you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, he's somebody that we talked about earlier, that little joker, linebacker, kind of defensive line mix. He's able to get in the mix there.
So 3rd down and 8 from the 46-yard line as the Vikings are trying to get their first real successful drive. The last one that scored a touchdown was gifted due to special teams. So Johnson with the chest high snap. He throws it off to a breaking Ely. And McCall able to bring the ball in, get about 10 yards on the reception, and get the first down, stepping out of bounds at the 44-yard line of the Rams.
Yeah, and those are the plays that we've been talking about. Just kind of get the offense going. Ely with the great route right to the stick. And is able to get the first down.
I mean, yeah, it's just these are timing routes. When Ely's breaking out, you see he almost slipped there and lost the opportunity of that ball. But fortunately for the Vikings, the cleat stuck in at the last possible moment, and a conversion for a first down for the first time this evening for the Vikes. Trips out to the far hand side. Cribb shifting off sidecar right with Johnson. A quick screen to the far hand side. And jumping up into the sky, getting down to the 39-yard line. That was tackled down by Kuma at the end of the play. But for the Vikings, that's Yannick Berg coming up for the play. Berg, the freshman out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, played over at Skyline High School. And they'll set the Vikings up with a 2nd and 5. 17 is a big number to live up to. If I'm not mistaken, Giovanni Gradier, who's playing over at UTEP now, the leading touchdown receiver for the Vikings, wore that same number last year. Twins stacked up on each side. Johnson, chest high, hands it off. Cribb breaking 1 tackle in the backfield and just surfing through a bunch of different bodies of Rams defenders as he's dropped down for only about a gain of a yard on the play.
Yeah, Cribb spins off of 1 tackle there. Would have been stuffed at the line. But like we've been talking about this whole time, Cribb, the athleticism and the ability to get off the line fast and shifty, gets a couple for the Vikings right there.
So now we'll get a first look of the season for the freshman out of Vanden High School in Vacaville. Sean Davis comes into the game. And let's see if he can be somewhat of a change of pace for this Vikes offense. 3rd down and 4 from the 38-yard line. of Fresno. Man-to-man coverage across the board. Play action fake, throws it up. It's a go route. Coming back for the ball, stays in bounds as Ely. Ely out to the 15, loses the ball. The ball's on the ground. And that looked like an unforced error as it looked like Keanu Kuma was just Johnny on the spot. He was right there as Ely tried to switch hands on the ball, just got a little too loose with it. And what should have been a great pickup, setting the Vikings up potentially in the red zone again, will turn into a turnover. Just a little bit of these week one jitters.
Yeah, great throw and a great adjustment to the ball on the sideline by Ely, and he's able to bring it in, but just loses control.
These are the little boneheaded mistakes that you're going to kick yourself. I know next week in film when they're preparing for Butte, man, Ely's going to get a bunch of clowning coming out his way for that one. But hopefully it won't bite the Vikings in the rear end as this Fresno City Rams offense just trying to kick it into gear. They've been stuck in first gear for the majority of this first quarter. McCall Ely, haven't seen many mistakes like that from him in his really great career here with DVC.
Yeah, he's been great so far. And they're looking for him a lot early on in this game. He's going to be a big part of their offense going forward this season.
So there was a penalty on the play, and it looks like a 5-yard penalty will be enforced on the Vikings. I'm not sure what that was on, though. Vikings lining up in a 3 defensive lineman look as they're bringing some linebackers up to play the outside. So a 5-man front as they're facing a heavy pistol look. Handoff, right side, diving forward, and that's the first down of the game for this Fresno City College roster. Amarion Gaines-Smith diving down, picking up 6 yards and the first along the way.
Yeah, Gaines-Smith, very shifty out of the backfield, a quick burst of speed. He's able to get a bunch there for the Rams.
Under 4 minutes to play here in this first quarter, working right to left. Trujillo trying to lead this team to some offensive success. There'll be another stretch to the right-hand side. Gaines-Smith breaks 1 tackle as he stutters, steps along the far sideline, and wrangled down for a tackle by Isaiah Nobriga. Nobriga played 5 games for the Vikings last year with 6 total tackles. And at that linebacker position, we expect a lot from him this year.
And that's a tough stop. That's a tough stop. Like we just said, Gaines-Smith with a huge burst of speed out of the backfield. And Nobriga was able to stop it right away at the line.
Yeah, this team has been playing some pretty stout defense along that front line. Both teams have this evening. Clock continues to run down. 3:06 remaining here. 9 seconds left on the play clock as Trujillo is calling for the ball. Head high snap, another handoff up the middle. This is another running back into the game for the first time. It looks like that's number 24, Avion Williams. A penalty is on the play, though. Maybe either an offsides or a holding call.
I believe that's going to be a holding on the Rams. On the left guard, I believe that's Manuel Hernandez.
So that call will back them behind the chains now as the Rams will now face a 2nd down and let's call it 15. No, officially 17. Nope, 19. There you go. 3rd time's the charm. So now forced to snap it now. The Vikings don't jump off sides, but it looks like all that movement will have drawn an offensive lineman offside, so that might be a procedural issue on the Vikings now. They just sent so much pressure out to the line and probably going to be drawing the offensive lineman offsides.
I want to believe that is Matthew Reyes, but it seems to be an offside.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a heavy play fake from that's just a nice play from the veteran quarterback. So from the far hash mark, another pistol look for Trujillo, which trips out to the near-hand side. 4-man front for the Vikings as it's another stretch over to the right side for Gaines-Smith. Gaines-Smith rushes off right tackle, and he'll be brought down after a gain of 5 on the play as Anthony Munoz comes up from his defensive back position to make the tackle for the Vikes.
Yeah, Munoz having a good game so far. He's able to read some of these runs and able to get to it very quickly to make the stop. And it's a big third down here for the Rams.
Munoz played 3 games for the Vikings last year and ended up shirting, so he'll still have his freshman tag under his belt. 3rd down and 7 from the 28-yard line, 2:05 counting down, and it's a shotgun look for Trujillo this time. Clapping for the ball, gets the ball, looks to the right-hand side, throws it. It's a wide-open route into the flats, and that's brought in by Amarion Gaines-Smith, getting the first down, bringing the ball out to the 40-yard line before he's escorted out of bounds by Marcel Anderson. Vikings blew the coverage there as they left the running back wide open. And honestly, that's not a bad thing to do if you've seen the history of this team. Amarion Gaines-Smith, the leading rusher for this Rams team, only had 1 reception in all 11 games last year. So matching his total from the 2022 season, the Rams getting some momentum here on offense. 1:25 counting down. It's another handoff up the middle. This time wiggling out of 1 tackle, breaks free out to the 50-yard line. Getting another gain of just about 15 yards before being tackled down by Derek Ryder. And that'll be a different running back coming in, and that's Deontay Benjamin touching the ball for the first time for this Fresno City College Rams team.
Yeah, that's the first time that we've seen Benjamin this game. And he's able to make the most of it so far, able to break through. It sets up a first down for the Rams.
Non-stop action here with 48 seconds counting down, and on the Viking side of the field for the first time today, another handoff over the right-hand side. Same carry as Deontay Benjamin, as he's only able to break forward for a gain of 2 this time as Isaiah Nobriga tackles them for the Vikings.
Yeah, Nobriga is somebody that we've been talking about this entire evening so far in this first quarter.
And let's see if Fresno City elects to to call another player or just to ride it down to the end of the first quarter. They've had a ton of success as Trujillo has finally taken a deep breath and started to move this offense with the assistance of his running game. And that'll be exactly what happens. So at the end of the first quarter of play, the Vikings 6, the Rams of Fresno City College 0, but the Rams have taken a lot of the momentum here as we will go to our first timeout of the evening here on DVC Vikings Live. And so we got Colin Dolvan, our sideline reporter, coming up for his first action of the evening. Colin, what are you seeing from the sideline?
I thought everything was pretty good, but there were some things that DVC needs to work on. They need the run blocking on most of their runs just has to be better because they were faltering pretty easily. But to go to the other side of the ball, the first stand they had was a good defensive stand, and they've been blanketing the Fresno receivers all game long. And the D-line has been pretty efficient and good, and they just need to work on limiting penalties as well. Other than that, they've been pretty good. Yeah,
penalties are going to be a big thing. The Vikings struggled with that a lot last year as we have a rush from the quarterback, Alec Trujillo. So, Colin, thank you so much. We'll hear back from you at the end of the half.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
So the first down pickup was made by Trujillo as he rolled out being pressured and ends up running for a first down out to the 35-yard line. Rotation coming in for the Vikings as they bring in Tanner Smiley. The freshman out of Brentwood comes into the defensive backfield. So up back off the left-hand side, and Trujillo trying to rock that momentum some more. Looking down the field after the snap, throws it short, caught at the 30-yard line before being tackled down after only a gain of 1 on the play after that catch. So a catch of 5 and a run of 1. And that's Tanner Smiley coming up to make the tackle. 14:03 counting down in the second quarter of play. Fresno City marching down the field on this Vikings defense in this early going as the Vikings lead 6-0 here. Second down and 3 from the 28. Gaines Smith will be in the backfield alongside Trujillo as he barks at his offensive line to get the call. Tied off the left-hand side will be Gavin Nelson, predominantly in there for a lot of blocking. 2 receivers out to the near-hand side from the near hash mark. Trujillo eyeing down the front, and the play clock goes all the way down to 0 as it looks like the veteran quarterback just let it get away from him a little.
Yeah, he just couldn't get it off in time, and it's going to be a penalty here for the Rams.
So let's see if the Vikings can swing a little bit of that momentum as the balls move back to the 33-yard line. Second down and 8 after the play. Vikings playing a lot of man-to-man coverage here, and they'll line up man-to-man once again. A big wide 9 on the outside. Up back off the left-hand side, and a pistol look once again. Going back to the bread and butter as it's a handoff over to Gaines Smith up the middle of the field. And Gaines Smith runs up the gut down to the 29-yard line for a gain of 4 on the play. And Nico Bowler coming up for the tackle for the Vikes.
Good job by Nico Bowler. I believe Comier joined him on that one.
Yeah, just triggering in, reading the keys of the offensive line. One thing you learn playing D-line here is read the feet of the offensive lineman. It'll tell you a lot. Third down and 4 from the 29-yard line, 12:35 counting down. It'll be a shotgun look for Trujillo as he has 2 receivers out to the far-hand side. Claps for the ball, the chest-high snap, looking down the field, throws it, and it's off the fingertips of a defensive lineman. It looked like that was Cameron Moore who got his big paws up in the air to swat it down. 6'7", you're going to get in the passing lanes even if you don't get to the quarterback. So the Vikings will force a heavy decision here. So not quite sure about what the distance of the leg of Ayala will be, and it looks like the offense will stay on the field for Fresno City College here, facing a 4th down and 4 from the 29. Rams will go for it here, and they'll line up with another heavy look. Tight enough the right-hand side, out of the shotgun, it's Trujillo. Chest side snap, rolls out to his right, eyes downfield, Trujillo being pressured, and he's sacked down at the 41-yard line. 2 Vikings got in the vicinity, but it was Nico Bowler coming from his linebacker position to get his first sack of the season and flip the chains. All the momentum that Fresno City College was building, the Vikings stole away in one clean swoop, but a flag does come down on the field. It looks like it will be a penalty flag of unsportsmanlike contact after the sack. So it looks like the Vikings will get the ball on the turnover on downs, but that will back them up 15 yards.
Unfortunate penalty there for the Vikings, but Nico Bowler with the bull rush on the left guard and is able to get to the quarterback for his first sack of the season.
Yeah, the Vikings averaging 99 penalty yards per game going into the season. That's ranked 54th out of 67 teams in the 3C 2A. So you don't love the penalty at the end of the play, but you do love the sack and the turnover on downs forced by that defense. So no special teams needed as the Vikings are able to get it done on defense, and they'll send out their sophomore quarterback, Jerry Johnson, out once again. The ball was spotted down at the 41-yard line, but the ball will march back all the way down to the Vikings 27. First down and 10 from the 27-yard lines. The Vikings working right to left with 12:18 counting down here in the second quarter. Vikings with a 6-0 lead as they scored the first touchdown off of a muff punt and went for 2 on a surprise play. Trips out to the far-hand side. Johnson with a low snap. Handles over to Gavin Cribb. Breaks 1 tackle in the backfield before he's smothered down by a whole different ton of Fresno City defenders. Rowdy Brand was over there, and he got some additional help from Jeremiah Shelton.
The Joker coming in again on that play, and he's just all over the field for this Rams defense.
Yeah, this new offensive line for the Vikings have got to do a better job opening up the running lanes for Gavin Cribb tonight. I mean, it's hard. You send out 7 offensive linemen to a 4-year colleges. 3 of them, I believe, went D1 last year, so it's just a learning experience from this young offensive line unit. 5 seconds left on the play clock as Johnson calling for the ball. Gets the belt-high snap. He's pressured. He throws it off his back foot, and it's caught at the 45-yard line, spinning out of 1 tackle before being brought out of bounds just past midfield. Brian Pierce Jr. with the big pickup on the play of 23 yards, and the Vikings are on the Rams side of the field.
Yeah, Max, we've been talking about Mikael Ealy this whole time, but Brian Pierce Jr. to start this game has been looking great out of the slot.
Yeah, he's got a few different looks, and it's that Pittsburgh high connection as the Vikings looking to hurry up to the line. Tighten off the right side from the near hash mark. The motion Cribb off the left hip. Johnson, 3-step drop, throws it off the fingertips of Brian Pierce Jr. as they tried to go back-to-back. That would have only been about a gain of 2 or 3 yards on the play, as I think there was some miscommunication between Ealy and Brian Pierce Jr. as they were both in the vicinity of that pass.
Yeah, Ealy and Pierce seemed to almost run into each other on that one, and both kind of got confused on who the ball was going to possibly.
Yeah, and a lot of familiar faces, but there still is turnover at a lot of these high up positions for this Vikings team, so they're still getting the jitters out their system. Pistol set, trips out to the forehand side as Cribb goes sidecar right over to Johnson. Pressure, throws it, it's the go route, and dropped into no man's land as it looks like there just wasn't quite a clean enough break off the ball for Pierce Jr. Flag comes in on the play as well. Maybe a holding call?
Yeah, the flag came in toward the DVC offensive line.
Yeah, and there was a whole ton of pressure, so it's the usual suspect in that situation, right?
And it is holding on the offense. I believe that's going to be Tassini Make.
So DVC on the hold on the play. And that'll back him up. So accepting the 10-yard penalty, the ball will be marked back down at the 41-yard line. Logan Loy, the suspect on the play, called for the hold. Our score 6-0 here as the Vikings of DVC take on Fresno City College 6-0, 10:52 counting down. The Vikings score came off of a muff punt where it set them up in the red zone and was a 5-yard pitch and catch for Johnson to Cribb. And now another stoppage in play by the officials here as the clock wasn't even near the 0 mark, or the play clock, I should say. And it looks like maybe a false start. Yeah, the ball is backed up 5 yards. It's a back-to-back penalties on the Vikings here, and that's just something that they can't get out of their system in this early going. I mentioned this before, 54th in terms of penalty yardage coming into this year. So last year they were 54th, and man, just procedural issues biting the Vikes in their rear end. So it'll be 2nd down and 24 officially on the field as they get dug real deep back into their own side of the field. And a sling from the back foot will be dropped down at the 49-yard line as Ealy was dropping down trying to get back to that original line of scrimmage. And the Vikings face a 3rd down and eternity here as it's some good coverage across the field for this this Rams unit, but more than anything, just some great pass rushing, getting into the face of Jerry Johnson.
Yeah, both defenses have been outstanding so far to start this game. But something about Fresno City is they've been able to cover very well and get some good pressure on Johnson to kind of throw him off a little bit. That pass was a little bit behind Ealy, so let's see if Johnson can regain his momentum here.
The motionless slot receiver out to the far hand side, so it's a trips look out to the far hand side. Out of the shotgun, Johnson. It's a 3-step drop, and another false start on the play. At this point, you're almost to the midway point of the second quarter. Maybe a little bit of fatigue for some of these bigger guys.
Yeah, this is something that DVC dealt with all year last year as well. Just penalties after penalties. something that they got to clean up for sure.
So the original line of scrimmage was set at the 49-yard line of the Rams, but all momentum seems to have been lost here. 3rd down and 29 from the 32-yard line. Let's see if the Vikings can possibly set up a screen of some sort, just try to get some yardage back.
Yeah, look for a screen or a little inside zone run here to try to get a couple.
And it's a 3-step drop instead. Stepping up into the pocket, a loft over the top, and man, McCall Ely is just not on it tonight as the ball went off of his fingertips at just about the 46-yard line. It wouldn't have been enough for a first down anyways, but man, just want to see him do a little bit better because, I mean, we talked about it. He's one of the best players for the Vikings and just needs to get those jitters out in this early going.
Yeah, he's going to be a big piece of this team all year. And so far tonight, it hasn't been clicking between him and Johnson. So let's see if he can get a little bit of a breather in this drive.
Last time out when Zane Hall punted the ball, it was that muff. So let's see if some more magic can come the way of special teams for the Vikes. Tabari Rollins coming out once again as he'll face a low end-over-end kick. This one fielded down at the 32-yard line. Broken one tackle, and he's eventually swarmed down as 2 flags come into the field. And that'll likely be a face mask call as Tanner Smiley comes up on special teams to make the tackle. So the ball was officially marked down at just about the 30-yard line, but it looks like it'll be another 15 yards tacked onto that return.
Yeah, Tanner Smiley came in to make the tackle, but unfortunately grabbed the face mask there. So that's going to be a penalty on the Vikings.
So the ball spotted down at the 34-yard line, so a 15-yard penalty will move it close to midfield. No, it's a holding call. It's a holding call against Fresno City College. I thought I saw it clear as day, but, I mean, we're up higher here. It's a little easier to see some of these things, so the Vikings get away with one. Wow, what a turn of events. What we thought might have been a ball that gets close to midfield will actually back the Fresno City College Rams up 10 additional yards.
Yeah, the Vikings catch a huge break there for sure.
So a hold on one side and a missed face mask on the other. And it'll be a 1st down and 10 from inside of the 25-yard line for this Rams offense, who really kicked it into gear. They got into 2nd, tried to flirt with 3rd, but weren't able to quite get off the field on 4th down and 4. So let's see what this offense has in store once again. A lot of running has been the key to success, and they'll line up with the tight end off the left-hand side. Fakes the handoff, throws it, and it's swatted down for the 2nd consecutive time. Moore with some more. Swats it up, jumping up. What do you think his vertical is? He's already 6'7". If he's jumping up there 30, 40 inches, I mean, that guy is something special.
Yeah, you're right there, Max. Cameron Moore, a huge defensive end and someone that's deflected 2 passes tonight. He's looked good so far for the Vikings.
That's what they teach you. If you can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up. And when you're as tall as a skyscraper out there, that'll do a lot. 10-28 counting down at 2nd and 10. Pressure coming off both sides. The Vikings trying to get another deflected pass, but instead the ball will be complete out to the forehand side. It's caught at the line of scrimmage and then brought out of bounds after about a gain of 8 on the play by Tabari Rollins. Anthony Hernandez came up on the tackle for the Vikings, and another flag litters the field. Man, he should have a clean start to the year, but all we're getting is a bunch of dirty laundry. Illegal hands to the face on the defense. That's that'll be a big penalty against the Vikings, as that'll be an automatic 1st down for the Rams. So 15-yard penalty will move them all the way down to the 46-yard line. So where we initially thought the ball was going to go after the punt, the ball's there now.
Yeah, something that DVC has been dealing with all night is just penalties on both sides of the ball has been hurting them. Missed opportunities and boneheaded mistakes.
Tyler Davis checks into the game at middle linebacker for the Vikings here, as it's a shotgun look for Trujillo once more. Trujillo claps for the ball, handoff up the gut, and this one is Gaines Smith getting a gain of 3 on the play. Cameron Moore on the tackle for the Vikes. Munoz gets in there as well. Officially a gain of 3 on the play. Moves them out to the 49-yard line as the Vikings trying to keep the Rams of Fresno City College on their own side of the field.
And something that the Vikings have to be excited about is Cameron Moore. I mean, this first half, he's been everywhere on this defense.
2nd down and 7 officially on the 49. And a shotgun snap and a handoff over the left-hand side. Smothered right away. They tried to get the ball over to Avion Williams, but instead, that's Saleh coming up for the tackle for the Vikings, and another flag on the play.
And I think this one, unfortunately, is going to be on Saleh. He got up and celebrated in front of Gaines Smith.
I don't know if that's enough to merit a such a quick flag, if that's going to be unsportsmanlike penalty. We're hearing jokes from some of the people up in this booth. Oh, it is an unsportsmanlike conduct. They are keeping this game on a really tight leash in the early going.
And like we've been talking about all night, just the boneheaded mistakes. I mean, a great stop there by Sealy, but couldn't keep it.
So 30 additional yards of penalties for oh wait. No, I think it's going to go against the other side. So they moved the chains all the way over thinking it was a DVC penalty, but the Vikings will actually get the ball brought right back to the 35-yard line. So it was against the Rams, not the Vikings.
I believe multiple unsportsmanlike on that play.
That would be offsetting, though, so I think it was just on one side. So the ball will be placed down at the 35-yard line. They're going to set the chains at the 41, so it's going to be 1st down and 15 now after the whole ton of a little bit of a headache up there in the booth. 9:13 on the clock here in the second quarter as the sun begins to go right behind the bleachers in this booth here at Viking Stadium. A lovely 70 degrees coming into this game. No better football weather.
Yeah, just a beautiful night out here tonight. A great way to open the season.
I mean, I'll take it. Usually week 1 here, it's about 110 degrees, and we're baking here in the booth by the end of the game, hoping that our freaking equipment doesn't go haywire, but I will take it any day of the week. So it'll be 1st down and 16 officially on the field. From the 35-yard line, the clock will count down from 9:10 going down. Trujillo from the shotgun look once again. Claps one time for the ball, gets it right into his chest. Time to throw, pump fakes. He's brought down! That's Nathan Kinsey, the defensive lineman, coming up for a huge sack on the play. He pump faked as Trujillo was looking down the field, and it looked like he had enough time to deliver that ball, but the coverage over the top held him up, and then the pressure of that Vikings front makes it 2nd down and long. No, it's actually 4th down, so the scoreboard is a little bit off. We'll try to get that one fixed. So it looks like that last play was 3rd down, not 1st down, so it'll be 4th down and 16 officially on the field after the play.
Yeah, we talk about Kinsey with the sack, but the DVC coverage all night tonight has just been spectacular.
Ayala, and a wonky punt for the 2nd consecutive time as this one takes a Fresno City College bounce, and wisely backing off that ball is the return man for the Vikings. That's Brian Pierce Jr., who backs away, and despite a punt that was shanked off the side of the foot, this one will be marked down at the 34-yard line. Just a little under 50 yards on the punt on the play. So as we flip the sides of the field, Jerry Johnson coming out once again. He's had a little bit of success early on, but a few drop balls by a few different key receivers in this early going.
Yeah, let's see if they can finally put it into place on this drive.
Sean Davis in the backfield alongside the left hip of Johnson. Johnson, a quick pass out to the forehand side, and that's the catch made by Ely, as Ely goes forward for a gain of 5 on the play after the screen pass. A short gain, but just get a little bit of that confidence back.
Yeah, Ely, who's been having an off night tonight. Good to see him just kind of get a couple yards and get the offense going a little bit. Also kind of get the chemistry rolling with Jerry Johnson.
Yeah, Ely had a really big pass on the sideline to get the first down of the game, but since then has struggled a little bit. Really happy to see him being able to get more involved here. So 2nd down and 7 from the 38-yard line. Sean Davis staying into the game. A handoff over to Davis, and Davis just no place to go. The moment he took the handoff, he was brought right back down at the original line of scrimmage, and Giovanni Pifferini, I should say, the defensive lineman, making the tackle.
And something that's a theme in this first half is the DVC run game has just been stuffed. I mean, the Rams' defensive line has been very disciplined and very good to start this game.
And it's impressive because they rotate about 8 or 9 defensive linemen in the game to keep everybody fresh, and everybody's been really playing up to their potential tonight. Still a 6-0 score. And Johnson with a 3-step drop. Johnson needs to fire, throws it right into the hands of a linebacker, intercepted at the 40-yard line, taken down at the 30, and that's a huge play. Kuma came up there to make the interception, and he's been everywhere tonight for this Rams defense.
Yeah, Jeremiah Shelton on the defensive line of the Rams came and put pressure in Jerry Johnson's face, and Kuma was just in the right place at the right time, thrown right to him and was able to make the interception. And a huge mistake for Johnson and the Vikings, as Fresno City will have very good field position.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to eat it, and you got to learn that, especially as a third-year guy coming into this program. Can't get a lot of those mistakes, or can't get away with a lot of those mistakes, I should say. So, gifted a great opportunity here at the 30-yard line after the interception and 10-yard return. Trujillo will clap for the ball, and he'll go for it all. A go route, back shoulder. No flag on the play as it was hand-to-hand combat all the way across. So, Marcia was the defensive back in coverage. Marche, I should say, as Tabari Rollins was the intended receiver. That was actually Jalen Garrison, the sophomore out of Coronado, Nevada, near in the Las Vegas area, as the intended receiver.
Yeah, Marcia, great coverage there on the sideline on the go route. A little bit underthrown, so he was able to make a great adjustment to the ball.
We got to get it right. It's Marche. And a handoff and a reverse over to the forehand side. The Vikings lost the outside contain, as the man on the reverse sweep will bring it all the way down to the, let's call it, the 16-yard line, as Jalen Garrison comes up from his wide receiver position and comes up with a big play.
Yeah, great fake run to the right. Flip it to Garrison, who's able to get a bunch on the left side of the field. DVC just not ready for it. Something that the Rams have needed all night is a little bit of spark in their offense, and they might have found it there.
Back off the right-hand side, out of the shotgun look once again is Trujillo. Trujillo claps for the ball, fakes the handoff, throws it, and it's intercepted right into the hands of the DVC defensive back as he reverses the field down to the 20-yard line, and that's Marcel Anderson coming up with a huge play. A ball that was delivered too far behind his intended receiver, an interception on one side, and Marcel Anderson says, hey, I'll take that right back.
Great play on the ball by Marcel Anderson. Another one of those right place, right time. A little bit underthrown and perfect timing to pick it off.
So one transfer throws an interception and another transfer comes and takes it back. I think we're getting a lot of impact player coming from the quote-unquote JC transfer portal coming to DVC tonight.
And like we said, talent absolutely everywhere in this game. Playmakers on both sides of the ball for both teams.
Jerry Johnson alongside Sean Davis once again as he comes out for a spread look from the far hash mark at the 19-yard line. It's a flip out to the forehand side, and just doing well to get any sort of coverage or any sort of yardage on the play is Elijah Alonso. Alonso's one of those guys that really took a lot of my interest going into this season, as he only actually gets about half a yard on his first reception of the season. But he was a guy that they plugged in at tight end, a guy that played a lot of wide out sets, and he was just a matchup nightmare last year.
Yeah, physical player. A little bit of burst of speed there. Look for DVC to use him in a bunch of different sets.
Second down and 9 after the first catch of the season from Alonso, and the ball will be spotted at the 20-yard line. 5:20 counting down here in the second. 3-receiver set. Johnson throws it far hand side, cut right at the sticks. That's McCall Ely. McCall, I should say, Ely. As Ely just a little short of the sticks. The Vikings need 1 more yard to gain after the gain of 7 on the play, or 8 on the play.
Great job by Johnson. Like we said last drive, he didn't eat the tackle, and he threw the interception. This time he eats it and is able to complete it to the sideline. Pressure from Shelton, and he takes the hit and delivers for the Vikings.
Sean Davis is still in the backfield as Jerry Johnson comes out of the shotgun look, and the Vikings need this 1 yard badly. A handoff. Johnson just no place to go. It was run the whole entire time, and Quentin Johnson leading the charge for the Rams knew it. He needed 1 on the play, and instead you're dropped for a loss of 5, a huge tackle for loss, and the Vikings need to send out their punting unit once again. And it's actually a penalty against the Vikings as there was insult to injury with the hold. And let's see if, you got to take this penalty, actually. I was going to say, let's see if you end up letting them punt in this situation, but on 3rd down, yeah, on 4th down and 1, kind of in this situation where the Vikings have gambled a little bit tonight already, I think you got to accept this penalty. Allow the Vikings to go for it again on a 3rd down and call it 11. And, yeah, I think that's the decision you got to make, right?
This is something that the Vikings are going to have to talk about at halftime, is this run game. They haven't broken out much. And on that 3rd down, they tried it again, and it was denied once again.
So the penalty is actually declined. It will be 4th down, but the ball will move back to the 25-yard line because it was a tackle for loss. So it is 4th down and 5, and it looks like the Vikings offense deep in their own side of the field will go for it. Am I mistaken? I see Jerry Johnson in the field. I don't see the punter, Zane Hall, there. So the Vikings, they tried to go for the fake, ended up being incomplete, which leads us to our 6-0 score with 4:20 remaining in the second quarter. And they are going to go for it. Maybe you see Jerry Johnson with a little bit of punting on his end.
I was just going to say, Max, I think Jerry Johnson –
and a timeout will be taken before they make that decision. I think the Vikings need to think this one over. First time out of the game, and let's take a break alongside with them. 6-0 our score with 4:09 remaining here in the second quarter play on DVC Vikings Live. So the Vikings will send the punt unit onto the field. I know you want to go for it, and I know you want to really just show off what you got, but in this situation, you got to punt every single time. So Josiah Avon, I believe, is going to be the returner, as this ball will be a high, winding punt. A fair catch will be called at the 32-yard line. A huge kick from Zane Hall to flip the sides of the field, and the ball will be spotted down at the 35-yard line. If you're getting punts like that, no wonder.
Very high spinning punt.
Yeah, we don't have the numbers on how high that was, but actually 4.2 seconds on the punt. So great job just getting that ball up there, forcing the fair catch. And the Vikings got another weapon on special teams. Just a little over 4 minutes to play here in this 6-0 game. The only score has come off of a muff punt by the Fresno City College Rams, which resulted in a 5-yard touchdown pass And that's Jaden Price coming up to make the tackle for the Vikings after an inside run.
First time calling Price tonight.
And a gain of 5 on the play. Second down and 5. Under 3:30 to play here. Up back off the right-hand side. Clapping for the ball, trying to get the Vikings to jump off sides. And Trujillo pressured heavily, able to deliver it. And that's dropped off to the tight end, Gavin Nelson. And the freshman was hit really hard despite not having got the ball. And that's Malik Viewins coming there to make the pressure on the play.
Yeah, the combination of Malik Viewins and Nico Bowler. We're going to have a timeout by Fresno City.
I think this is to keep the quarterback into the game. It looked like something happened with Trujillo at the end of the play, which would have forced him to sit out one play. So you take the timeout, you stop the clock at 3:17, and you keep your veteran quarterback into the game. So let's take the timeout alongside with them here on DVC Vikings Live. Third down and 5 from the 40-yard line. 3:17 remaining here. It's been a defensive game. The only score, like I've said before, has been off of a muff punt that set up the Vikings inside of the red zone. It was a 5-yard pitch and catch from Jerry Johnson to Gavin Cribb. But since then, I mean, realistically, this Fresno City offense has had a lot more success than the Vikings offense. They've run the ball pretty well, and they've had a lot of different success here, and it looks like a new quarterback will come in here. So that's Jay O'Neal, the quarterback. So Jay O'Neal will take his first snap of the game, and he'll pass. Throws it across, and it's right into the chest of Rollins as Rollins running the crossing route across the formation, and that's a big pickup on the play. The first pass from the new quarterback, and that's a first down for the Rams.
Yeah, the play before, Trujillo, his helmet had came off, so he had to come out of the game for a play. But Jay O'Neal is able to deliver for the Rams, and he gets them a first down in a critical time in this game.
So after a one-play stint, Jay O'Neal comes up. He's Johnny on the spot, and Trujillo comes back into the game. Trujillo, 1 interception on the evening, but he's played a pretty solid game so far. And Trujillo to pass, throws it right up to the 50-yard line, and his receiver jumped up to make the catch on the play. And a huge hit by the Vikings there. Dylan Leao comes up to make the tackle after a gain of 4 on the play. And did you get a number on who made the catch? Oh, was it incomplete, actually? Oh, so Leao breaks it up at the end of the play.
Yeah, Avion Williams for the Rams was the intended receiver, the running back out of the backfield.
Yeah, and you don't see a lot of that from this offense, so it's interesting to see what they're doing, passing to tight ends and passing to running backs, just something that wasn't really in the play cards. 3 receivers set now as the motion the slot receiver across, and it's a handoff up the middle, shifts past 1 defender, and a lunging attempt as the ball pops out. The Vikings are on top of it. The handoff to Avion Williams as he was hit at the 50-yard line, and then as he makes a diving Superman attempt, the ball pops out, and Anthony Munoz hops up on the ball as he hits the ground. It looks like, is he hurt? Munoz was celebrating with his teammate as he hit the ground hard after jumping up, and man, the Vikings cannot get out of their own way. Munoz is on the ground holding his left knee. Oh my goodness, heartbreak. Such a big play, and on the celebration going down. Oh. This one hurts my soul. So officials timeout on the field, and let's take it with them. 6-0 is our score here with 2:20 remaining here in the second quarter of play, and an injury on the field for the Vikings after coming up for the big play. He's taken down as Anthony Munoz. We hope he's able to get up on his own power. Back on the other side of the break on DVC Vikings Live. Carried off the field by his teammates. Munoz comes up with a huge play, but he gets injured as he gets a little excited celebrating on the play. So it looks like he's able to put a little bit of weight on it, so that's a good sign, as it looks like a lower leg contusion. So back on the field, the Vikings facing a 1st down and 10 for the 47-yard line. It's been start and stop for this Vikings offense in this early going of the game. 2:20 remaining here. Pistols spread for Jerry Johnson, the sophomore out of Pittsburgh High. Eyeing down the defense as Gavin Cribb comes back into the game for the Vikes. Time to throw. Pump fakes. Rolls out to his right. Jerry keeps his eyes downfield. Throws it at the last possible second. Coming back for the ball at the 20, but he drops it. Brian Pierce had that alongside his right hip. That would have been a huge pickup to send the Vikings into the red zone, but instead an incomplete pass. So many times this evening, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we've seen Pierce break open, but just not able to connect with this quarterback.
Yeah, we've been talking about the connection between Johnson and Pierce, and they found it there. I mean, Pierce just wins the route, and he's able to find him on the right sideline, but just could not bring it in. And like you said, Max, it would have set up the Vikings for a beautiful drive.
Yeah, Johnson just did everything right, rolling out on that play, waiting for the deep route to open up, but just no fruits for that labor. Johnson throwing again. He throws to the near sideline, coming back for the ball, and that's just a ball chucked up as Ellis Dean was the intended receiver on the play. Lance Sizon, the defensive back, was the man on the coverage, so the Vikings, just like that, get the turnover, but now face a 3rd down and 10 with 2:06 remaining. There have been some highlights in this game so far, but it's been a heavily defense-driven game. And let's see if Jerry Johnson can have some success here as a timeout is taken by the Vikings. The play clock wound all the way down to 0, and just a good heads-up timeout taken by the sideline, taken by Dave Garcia. So the clock will stop at 2:06. And Caleb, what do the Vikings need to do to get some more, get the gears oiled? That's really what it is. The Vikings just have this machine that's so powerful, but they just don't have any oil to make this thing run smoothly so far.
Yeah, they've been coming out of this game just a little. And they've had a couple of opportunities to get the ball down the field, but they just haven't been converting on them. I think they just need to simplify the offense just a little bit. In a game like this, it's an all-defensive battle, 6-0, and like you said, that one touchdown came off of a muff punt.
Yeah.
And so these offenses haven't been clicking so far. I think they just need to simplify it a little bit and just get the offense going, get a couple of quick, complete passes, and get Johnson connected with his receivers.
So the Vikings facing a third down and long here. It's third down and 10 from their own 46. A low snap handled well. A throw out to the far sideline. Oh, the outstretched hands of McCall. Ely can't get to that ball. That would have been just enough to get the first down, but once again, Johnson just cannot put it on the money for McCall.
And like we just said, Johnson trying to connect with McCall. A low snap that kind of got Johnson thrown off a little bit. And just these simple things that have been going on this entire first half.
So it's first down and 10 here as Josiah Aon comes back onto the field for his second punt return of the game. Last time out, Zane Hall. 4.2 second airtime on the punt as he flipped the sides of the field. And Johnson will line up. Heels are on the 12-yard line. And let's see if Hall's able to boot it away cleanly again. End over end punt. This one fielded down. It's a fair catch once again. Brought down at the 37-yard line. A lower one now, only at 2.86 seconds. But inside of the 20-yard line, you can't ask for much more.
We've talked about the DVC struggles on offense today. Fresno City has had their fair share as well.
Yeah, but their offenses seem to get a little bit more into gear as the Vikings have, where they've moved the ball downfield and then they turn the ball over. So in terms of total offense, we don't have stats tonight, unfortunately, but I'm sure this Fresno City College team has some more yardage on top. So a play action fake by Trujillo as Trujillo runs up the middle, gets all the way into the defensive backfield of the Vikings, and will be brought down after a gain of 18 on the play. A nice looking run from the veteran quarterback.
Yeah, Trujillo escapes the pocket and just turns it upfield.
He's one of those guys that isn't necessarily a runner on paper, but when you need to make it happen, when you need to kick it into gear, he's able to do so, and he's done so a couple different times tonight. So first down and 10, 1:30 counting down. Trujillo's going to pass. It's the route down the far sideline, and that's intercepted once again. Nope. Knocked out of bounds. Adrian Marche continues to do some great coverage tonight. He got the ball at the end of the play, but just wasn't able to get his feet down as that momentum carried him too far out of bounds.
Yeah, Marche with some great coverage down the right sideline. I believe the intended receiver was Jalen Garcia, or Garrison, excuse me.
And that'll be a second down and 10 from the 36 for the Rams. 2 timeouts still left in the pocket of the Fresno City College Rams as they try to march back down the field in the 6-0 game. Looking for a screen pass, isn't there, developing, so a heads-up play there as the ball's dropped off inside of the 50-yard line of the Vikings. The ball's caught by Josiah Aon. He brings it out of bounds at about the 48-yard line as Anthony Henry just got lost up in the coverage. It looked like they were trying to throw a screen pass to Aon, but the Vikings sniffed it out. But on the second and third attempts, Trujillo able to just call a heads-up play saying, hey, go down the sideline. And that's one of the biggest passes of the evening now.
Yeah, Henry just got a little lost in the secondary. Didn't realize that Aon was behind him. Turned up the sideline. Trujillo found him.
So with 1 minute remaining, 2 timeouts still in the pocket of the Rams. It's a 6-0 game as the Vikings scored the only touchdown score of the night on a 5-yard reception, but they went for 2, and they did not get it. Shotgun spread for Trujillo. Eyeing down the heavy front of the Vikings here as he looks down the far side of the field. Throws it across, and it's caught short. That's caught by Rollins as Rollins, working his way all the way out to the far side of the field, runs a half gasser as he brings it forward for a gain of about 7 on the play, so making it second down and manageable here as they hurry up to the line.
Yeah, with only 2 timeouts here for the Rams, look for them to get some outside passes to the sideline to stop that clock.
The cowbells are ringing, and it's second down and 4. A quick pass over to the flats once again. That's caught in the backfield. And a pitch and catch out to, they're going to say it's Gaines Smith who brings it out to the 32-yard line. Interesting fold. I mean, you build on yourself every single year. A guy that only got 1 catch last season has had 2, and they've been really big pickups. So the Vikings just sending pressure, leaving the running back in the flats, and they've been paying for it now. 57.4 seconds remaining as the Rams use the sidelines wisely to stop the clock. Dane Smith in front of Trujillo here. 3 receivers to the far-hand side. The Vikings get a jump on the ball, but the ball's still delivered out to the far-hand side. Caught right at the sticks by Jalen Garrison, and Garrison gets enough for the first down. The Rams are bucking their kicking, and they're hitting their heads into the Vikings defense right now as they continue to move the ball forward.
Yeah, the Vikings defense has brought a lot of pressure this drive, but Trujillo now 4 for 4 on this drive. And he's looking comfortable in the pocket.
Shotgun spread once again, same formation from the far hash mark. Vikings with another heavy pressure look. Pressure comes late. The ball is delivered out to the far-hand side, and it's thrown behind the intended receiver. Josiah Ayo came out there, and the Vikings were playing double coverage over the top as Leo had the coverage alongside Dylan Leal was there in double coverage with the safety. I'm trying to get a number there on the play, and that was Tanner Smiley in his safety position there. So a bracket over the top, and the ball was just placed on the rear end of the Vikings defender, making it 2nd down and 10 from the 22. 47.2 seconds remaining here in this first half of play.
And as comfortable as Trujillo has looked in the pocket, the deep ball hasn't been there yet.
And the Vikings another well-timed blitz here as Trujillo firing away again. The ball's tipped away, flipped up in the air, and it's intercepted at the 9-yard line. The Vikings with the convoy out to the numbers 40, brought out to the 50, and brought down inside of the Fresno City College side of the field. The ball will be marked down at the 45-yard line as the Vikings playing hot potato, the tip drill, and the interception was made by Tanner Smiley. A flag down on the field at the 25-yard line of the Vikings.
An amazing play by Anthony Henry, who's able to dive and put it up in the air for Smiley to take it. There was a huge block around the 25-yard line. Could be what the penalty is.
If it's a block in the back, the Vikings will get possession with 35 seconds remaining, and that'll be huge because of the success that Trujillo has had on this play. Only 1 incompletion as he's been picking apart this defense. And it looks like the defense will take the field for the Fresno City College Rams as the offense comes out for the Vikings. So that's a tell here. And the Vikings, gotta believe you're gonna run it a couple different times, taking to the half with this 6-point lead, right? What a heads-up play on the field. Smiley just the right place at the right time once more. The tip drill in a little bit of a different fashion. When you learn the tip drill, it's batted up in the air and you pick it up, but this time around it was like a libero in volleyball diving down for the dig, picking that one off.
And guess who's on the ball again? Cameron Moore once again is able to tip it up, and Henry gets it.
Crib in the backfield with Jerry Johnson with 35 seconds counting down in this first half of play. And the 2023 season opener here at Viking Stadium. Vikings still have 1 timeout left in their pocket, but just the way things are going, I could see them running this one out a couple different times, see if Crib can get a little success because the running game's just been shut down. I believe the Vikings actually have negative rushing yards on the evening so far. Crib sipping up off the left hip. Jerry Johnson will pass. Johnson, time to throw. Johnson lost it over the top, and it's caught by Mikael Ely at the 35-yard line as he's upended on the play. The Vikings will move the ball forward as his right X marks the spot, and the clocks will stop here. Number 23 on the tackle, that's Quentin Johnson, and a time will be taken by the Vikings. This is something to note as well. So on the 4-year level at the Division I level, they've changed the rules now so the clock will not stop on the first down unless it's inside the 2 minutes of play. So it's something similar to like a cross between NFL and college rules now, but that's something to factor in. I do not believe we have that at the junior college level, though. So the time will be taken here. I thought they were just going to run that ball out, but maybe get a little bit of momentum. And you've seen the opportunities present itself, and the Vikings able to take advantage of it here.
Yeah, finally Johnson and McCall.
Yeah, and the Vikings take the timeout, obviously, so they hear. But what were you saying, Caleb?
Johnson and McCall Ely finally able to connect. We haven't seen in the first half.
27.8 seconds remaining here, and the Vikings look like they want to stay aggressive. Johnson out of the shotgun look from between the hash mark. X marks the spot. Takes the chest high snap. Pressure comes. He avoids the first wave of pressure. Rolling out to his right and trips over the right tackle. Just trips over the heels of his own offensive lineman as he hits the deck. That looked like the right tackle, Toby Bunch, as the clock will count down, and that looks like it'll end it for the Vikings. Maybe one more play as they try to get set up. They're lined up, but it doesn't look like they'll have enough time to get it off. So, zeros on the clock to end this first half of play, and man, it's been up and down. A ton of turnovers. The Vikings defense opportunistic as ever, but this Fresno City College Rams offense finding a way to make it happen. They just haven't really strung it all together yet so far. So, we'll take a quick timeout before coming back to hear what our sideline reporter has to say as Cullen Dolvan coming back on the other side of this break here on DVC Vikings Live. So, Colin, you've been down here on the sideline all this game long. What have you been seeing from the Vikings, and just what's the vibe there on the sideline?
Yeah, Max. On the sideline, they seem like they've got it under control, and everything sounds really good. They've got everything working. One thing I want to say about Johnson, the quarterback, is that he's got great pocket presence. Minus the interception, that was one minor blip. But other than that, I think he's had a great first half. And honestly, the O-line needs to do their job, I think, a little bit better. When he drops back, the pass blocking seems to be fine, but they're not getting their guys in the backfield any space.
Yeah, but so after that big interception made by Zane Hall in the play, he hopped up in the air. You saw the injury. What was the overall vibe of the team? Did you feel like a gut punch after seeing their man go down after making such a big play, or did they kind of rally behind the troops?
It was more of a rallying sense behind that guy. I mean, he was down for a minute, and it was a little scary for a second because he was coming off the field and he seemed fine, but as he was coming off, he went down, and I thought he was going to make it, and everyone just rallied around him, and I think you're seeing that on the field with that late turnover in the half.
So with that, we'll send it to the halftime break. 19 minutes left in this halftime break, and we'll be back on the other side here as the Vikings lead the Fresno City College Rams 6-0 to start this 2023 3C2A football season on DVC Vikings Live. About 25 seconds remaining in the halftime break. And we're just about underway in the second half. So, Caleb, what are you seeing that the Vikings need to do in the second half to continue to carry this lead going forward?
Yeah, well, something that we saw in the first half was that the running game was basically non-existent. Like you said, I believe they had negative rushing yards in that first half. I think they need to open the run game up a little bit. Hopefully they were able to generate a game plan at halftime to be able to open up that run game and kind of get some short passes, maybe throw the deep ball every once in a while, and just kind of simplify the offense and just kind of get some points on the board.
So the Vikings got the ball first. They ended up going 3 and out on their first offensive possession, and they really struggled. They've had a few opportunities where they've had a few guys open, but unfortunately just not able to hook it up. The lead is 6-0, and that one score came off of a muff punt where the Vikings were set up in the red zone, and it was a 5-yard pitch and catch from the new quarterback, Jerry Johnson, over to Gavin Cribb. So kicking it away to start, going right to left, Zane Hall will boot it away. This one will be a low end-over-end kick, carrying its way all the way down to the 4-yard line. Brought across the 20-yard line over on the near hash mark and spun down, getting past the 25 into a group of Vikings defenders as the pile continues to carry. So a good return on the first play as the ball's brought out to the 32-yard line, and that's Avon Williams coming to make the return. 28-yard return on the play. And for the Vikings, that's, I think, Zach Sandoval coming up in special teams. So we're going to get another look at this offense led by Alec Trujillo. Trujillo, the veteran quarterback, has been all around the block, played at San Jose State, played at Fresno State, and now at Fresno City College trying to earn his spot and use up those last 2 years of eligibility. He's had a good night so far as the Vikings send a well-pressured blitz there as the handoff goes over to Gaines Smith up the middle. Gaines Smith only a game of 2 on the play as Isaiah Nobriga comes up for the tackle from his linebacker position. But Trujillo, aside from those 2 interceptions, which were honestly, one of them was a bad interception, the second one was just a Herculean effort by the defense, being able to kick that ball up in the air and get that second interception. But he hasn't been bad tonight, just hasn't been able to really get it in the groove once they get inside of the 30-yard line.
Yeah, the deep ball hasn't been there for him tonight, but he's looked good otherwise, besides those 2 interceptions.
Man-to-man coverage as the Vikings shift from a 3-man to a 4-man front, and it's another handoff up the left side of the field, breaking past a couple different Vikings defenders, and he continues to move the convoy forward, and that's a first down rush by Amarion Gaines Smith. Man, he was caught dead to his rights right at the line of scrimmage, but he did not give up on the play. Finally, Marcus Nunez for the Vikings able to knock him down, but what a heck of a run.
Yeah, Gaines Smith, huge running back in the backfield for the Rams.
Just burst through that first couple different tacklers. And the Vikings, I know the flashiness has been working for them, but they need to get back to the fundamentals, wrapping it up. So 2-back pistol look now, and another handoff over to the right-hand side. A wiggle, a shimmy, a break out to the 40-yard line. He takes it out to the 30, cuts it back on top of the numbers 30. Finally brought down inside of the 20-yard line as that's a huge rip on the play by, I believe that is number 39, Nomas Asuga coming in for the play. Nico Bowler finally able to bring him down inside the red zone, but the running game has been working for the Rams, and they buck their way into the red zone of the Vikings, marked down at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, the Rams have a different kind of 1-2 punch. They run 3 running backs in their sets.
And a huge run on the play will set them up in the red zone. Another pistol look and a handoff. Plenty of space in between the tackles as the sea of green is parted forward. And that's a 12-yard rush on the play, this time by Gaines Smith as the ball's set down at the 6-yard line. Isaiah Nobriga finally on the tackle, but it looks like the front of Fresno City College is getting the better of the Vikings so far now.
Yeah, the Rams' run game this drive has been very, very good.
It's been good all game long, to be fair. 2 tight ends set. Handoff once again. A jump cut in the backfield as he runs into the back of his offensive lineman. That's Amarion Gaines-Smith, brought down for a gain of 2 on the play.
That's Moore and Buller in there on the stop once again. A great stop in the red zone.
And the man that brought it forward, Asuga Nomas, comes back in. So Asuga's in the backfield. Another handoff as he moves the pile forward, fighting, reaching, and he's in. The first score of the evening comes on the first drive for the Rams. They march it all the way down the field with their terrific running game, and we're knotted up at 6-11-27, counting down in this third quarter of play.
Yeah, the Rams on that drive showcased all 3 running backs. Gaines-Smith, Williams, and Asuga. And Asuga's the one that gets the score. Just a dominant drive there against the Vikings defense.
So the Vikings went for 2. They didn't get it, so that's why it's not up at 6. And a high pass now go right into the hands of Calabrian, and we're knotted up at 6 apiece. Marcel Anderson blew up the play after a high snap came off the rear side of Adam Garina, I should say. Or no, I think that's the short snapper, Giovanni Pifferini. So Pifferini with the high snap, handled by Ashton Calabrian. But, hey, I wouldn't have it any other way, right? Just the way that this game's been going. The penalties, the miscues, but a whole lot of fun. Knotted up at 6.
Fresno City, a team in the first half that struggled to get points. Their first points of the game coming on that drive.
Halftime adjustments, that's what makes a good team great.
Let's see if the Vikings also have a game plan coming right out of halftime to be able to put some points on the board.
Ayala, the freshman out of Kerman, the former soccer player. Be a high kick that'll be fielded down. It bounces down at the 20-yard line and finally brought up by a Vikings up back. I believe that was one of the return men as he moves laterally, tackled down at the 19-yard line. And that was number 81 on the return. That's Ellis Dean. Rowdy Brand making the tackle on special teams for the Rams.
So like we've been talking about, the Vikings are going to get some solid field position to start, and coming right out of halftime, hopefully able to make a couple key adjustments just to get the ball moving, get a couple first downs, and get the offense back in the rhythm.
Vikings out on the field with an up back on the right-hand side. From the far hash mark, there'll be a pistol look before moving Gavin Cribb off the left hip of Johnson. A quarterback keeper this time, as Gavin Cribb was the lead blocker for the quarterback. Maybe, I don't think that was an intended read option. I think that was just a missed handoff, and then Cribb said, come along with me, laid the convoy, and a pickup of 6 on the play for the quarterback.
Yeah, nice job by Johnson to read the defense and see that he had an open gap to get some yards, something that we haven't seen all game.
That's one thing. You don't get panic out of a veteran quarterback, and he made the most out of that play right there. 2nd down and 4 from the 25-yard line, 10:50 counting down. Tight bunch off the forehand side. Johnson out of the pistol. It's a stretch over the right side, and Cribb jump cuts, but isn't able to do much. Marked down right at the line of scrimmage, a gain of 0 on the play, and the Vikings, I think, are near 0 rushing yards on the game at this point. You got to keep getting it, though, because if you turn one-dimensional, then the defense knows what's going on, and they send everybody, they drop 8. So I think you still need to stay faithful and allow Cribb to really work his space and try to find some success.
Yeah, staying true to the run game is going to be key. Gavin Cribb is a big part of this offense, trying to break him free.
Bunch out to the near-hand side, far hand hash mark as Johnson breaks one tackler, has a wide open man caught at the 50-yard line. He's running down the far sideline, tries to stiff arm the defender as he's brought down inside of the 30-yard line. And a great route by Austin Hertz. Hertz was predominantly a special teams player last year, but the special teams player turn wide receiver comes up for a huge one. Flag marked down at just about the 45-yard line of the Vikings, and who might get a hold on the play.
Great route by Austin Hertz, and a great job by Johnson, able to escape the pocket. And he found Hertz down the field on a wonderful route.
It looks like it'll be a sideline interference call on the Vikings, so we'll probably just get a warning, if anything, hopefully. And this is good to see as well. So the Vikings had two quarterbacks that we've got listed on the roster here, and Isaiah Newton, who we might have thought would have been the guy coming into this year, hasn't gotten the nod so far, but he's still inside of everything. He's still leading the team, and the sideline interference call will bring the Vikings back just about to the 44-yard line. So that's where the flag was thrown. Yeah. But yeah, I like to see Isaiah Newton staying on top of it. Just because you didn't get the nod doesn't mean you won't possibly have any opportunities going into the year.
Yeah, keep staying involved.
Trips out to the near side. Johnson out of the shotgun, a low snap, and flags come in. Possibly a false start on the Vikings. Yep, that's exactly it. Eric Asvit, the offensive lineman, called for jumping.
Yeah, back to your point from earlier, Matt. Isaiah Newton has been involved on the sideline in every play. Even when Johnson comes off the field, he's still involved with the coaches. A great thing to see.
On the right hip of Dave Garcia, who's calling the plays this year from the sideline. 3 receivers set, and another handoff. Cribb finally breaking free for a little bit of space as he gets past the original line of scrimmage, and a gain of 7 on the play as Cribb just really, I mean, that was a pretty slow run, to be honest. He was just reading the whole time, didn't over-accelerate, and that allowed him to get that lane to pick up 7 on the play.
Yeah, didn't use the speed right away. Kind of Le'Veon Bell-esque right there, trying to wait and see the gap open up.
I think Le'Veon will have his hands in the back pocket of his offensive lineman while he's doing it, though. That's a different level of patience. 2 backfield set, and they'll swing it out over to Cribb. A blocker right in front of Cribb gets blown up as Cribb able to make the most out of very little in that situation, bringing the ball out to the 39-yard line on a 4-yard reception.
And like we talked about at halftime, Max, getting Gavin Cribb involved, no matter if it's the pass game or opening up the run game. But we've seen that so far on this drive. And he's been the go-to guy.
It's going to be 3rd down and 6 of officially marked down on the far hash mark, 40 on the Rams side of the field. And you got to think about it like this as well. Gavin Cribb gambled coming back for another year. He had offers to go play at Morehead State, to play at other big FCS schools, but he decided to come back and give it another run with the Vikings. As it's a well-handled snap, it's a low one by Johnson, and Johnson, just as he released the ball, a lot of pressure up into his gut, and the Vikings have a decision to make. In this situation, it's like, I don't know if you're really able to go for it here, but you're kind of in that no man's land where if you punt, you could pin them back, but I don't know. Let's see what they eventually do. And it looks like Jerry Johnson will stay on the field, and as you were pointing out, Rowdy Bren was the man to get the pressure on the play. Sean Davis checks out as Gavin Cribb stays into the game, so the Vikings will go for it on 4th down. Tight bunch on each side. Cribb motions over to the left hip of Johnson. Johnson with the belt high snap. Johnson looking downfield. Johnson delivers behind the receiver. Brian Pierce Jr. came on the crossing route. It looked like he might have had a sliver of space to turn up on the sideline if he had caught that ball, but the ball was thrown behind the intended receiver, and the Vikings will turn it over on downs.
Another one where Johnson had an open receiver who could have turned it upfield to get the first down, but just another pass behind him. And that's been a theme here tonight for the Vikings. Missed opportunities. Something they'll want back for sure.
A game knotted up at 6 apiece, 7:56 remaining in this second half, in this third quarter of play as the Vikings show a 5-man front. Another run. And some more space up the middle for the running back. That's Gaines Smith, as Smith rips his way forward for a gain of 17, getting into the side of the field for the Vikings. Or getting into the Viking side of the field for the Rams as Tanner Smiley comes up at his safety position to make the tackle.
Yeah, Gaines Smith gets the nod on that one. And here comes the Suga into the game.
Yeah, Suga and Gaines Smith have been a great 1-2 punch so far. Suga was the one that ripped out that huge run that set up the last score. Trujillo with the snap, and Trujillo with the keeper, far hand side. He's got a blocker in front of him, but not much space after that. A good job by number 5 for the Vikings. That's Marcel Anderson coming out to push him out of bounds as a flag comes in on the sideline of the Rams. And a nice pickup once again, just that read option. Trujillo had a wide open spot as the defensive lineman was selling out to stop the run by the running back. And let's see what this flag is on. It's an unsportsmanlike conduct call on the Rams of Fresno City College, so that'll back him up 15 yards after getting that nice gain. The Vikings need to do something different here. Travis Ricidi got to get something out of the hat right now because the running game has just been dominating the front of DVC so far.
Yeah, the run game in the second half for Fresno City has been almost unstoppable. That 1-2-3 combo of Asuga, Williams, and Gaines Smith. They've got plenty of options in that backfield, and they've been using them in this second half.
Yeah, we haven't even seen the big back out of Lebanon, Tennessee. Xavier Ali was going to be somebody that was on the scouting report. The 6'3" running back was the second leading rusher last year. But, I mean, you don't really need it when you have so many guys that are just running the rock like that. Handoff left side, the sweep, and a tackle made by Jaden Price from his safety position after only a gain of 2 on the play by Asuga.
He's been by number 14, Jaden Price.
Price shot the gap there very nicely and read that run to the outside and was able to finally put a stop to this run game for a play.
6:37 counting down here in the third. Up back off the right-hand side from the far hash mark. Trujillo calling for the ball. It's a play-action fake. He's going to go for the go route once again, and this one batted away at the last possible second. Adrian Marche, you got that right, or we got it right that time. Batted the ball away, and that is just true presence from the Portland, Oregon native. He got burnt on the play a little bit, but man, just kept a cool head and swatted that ball away at the last possible second. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, Jalen Garrison beats him off the line, and he had him on the go route. But Adrian Marche lays out for the ball and is able to stop a big play in a desperate time for the Vikings.
Marche was so big in the run game last year, and now he's showing we can do as a sophomore in coverage. So an empty set. I believe this is the first time tonight. Trujillo is going to pass it, throws it forehand side. It's on the fingertips of his receiver as he runs forward past the 40-yard line. And he dives out of bounds as he takes a hard hit right into one of the reserve offensive linemen for the Vikings. And it looks like he's maybe just a yard short on the play. Tabari Rollins just reached out for the ball at the last possible second. And this ball will be 4th down and just about half a yard at the 38. So this is pretty obvious in this situation. Your running game has been going all night long. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if the Vikings send an all-out blitz and Trujillo comes out, either keeps it himself on a naked bootleg or passes the ball in this situation. I think the Rams could possibly have something up their sleeve right now. Trujillo out of the pistol look. And a stoppage in play. I don't see a flag on the field as it looked like one of the rushers for DVC jumped offside for a moment as it was Nico Bowler. And instead, I think that's going to be a false start on the Rams. So this pushes them back, and now it's not such an obvious situation. You get a 5-yard penalty on the play, and I think you got to send out your punting unit in this situation, no? I mean, you're at that 44-yard mark. You can pin them deep, but wow, that was a huge mistake from the offensive line of Fresno City there.
Yeah, they brought in their big running back, Asuga, right behind Trujillo. Maybe a little quarterback sneak try on that one, but they got a little too jumpy, and it cost them.
So the deep man is Pierce Jr. as they will punt it away. No fake here. A low punt that'll bounce down, taking a bounce all the way into the end zone. And great opportunity there for the Rams, trying to get in front of it, but just not quite able to make it quite in time. A 3-second punt on the play as it was an end-over-end roller, and the Vikings get away from that really difficult situation to be in, and they'll get the ball on the 25.
So something that I did notice, Isaiah Newton was warming up a little bit, throwing the ball around. Could possibly look to use him in a couple different sets, like you said earlier, Max.
Yeah, I don't think Johnson will get benched at any point, but you got to think about maybe changing it up a little bit and trying to get creative. 3 receivers out to the far-hand side as Johnson in the shotgun. A handoff over to Cribb as Cribb runs right into the back of multiple different offensive linemen as it was just a stuffed ball right at the point. Only a gain of 1 on the play. Kuma with the tackle, and he was also the guy that got the interception earlier in the game. So it's been a back-and-forth battle in this 6-6 game. The Vikings able to capitalize off of a muff punt, set up their first score of the evening in the first quarter. That led to a 5-yard pitch and catch from Johnson over to Cribb, and then after that, huge runs from the Fresno side of the ball set them up, and a muffed punt, or a muffed PAT attempt leads us to a 6-6 game. Off the back foot, looking for Gavin Cribb, running down the near sideline was Jerry Johnson, but the pressure was just right up in his grill as he shakes the hand of his offensive lineman, saying, hey, it's my fault, and live to fight another day. Mike Dorlett taking accountability for that play.
Yeah, Johnson saw the pressure and saw Gavin Cribb running up the sideline, just needed to get rid of it and throw it to an intended receiver. A smart play by Johnson not to take the sack and set up a possible third down, a gettable third down.
Well, it's going to be a difficult task. 8 seconds remaining on the play clock here as the Vikings break the huddle. 3rd down and 8 from the 22-yard line with 4:54 remaining. Sprint out to the right, looking down the field, turning, looking, running, and brought down. I think they're going to call this one a sack officially. It was behind the line of scrimmage. And Johnson taken down, and the punt unit will come out. So the Vikings trying to come out here and do something on offense, but it's just been a little stagnant so far as Pifferini comes up to make the play on Johnson. So it looked like he got about 1 yard on the play as Johnson rushes forward. And now we're going to need Zane Hall to boot a big one away. 4:18 left in this 3rd quarter. Zane Hall to kick it away on the punt. 4 seconds left on the play clock. Snap is high, able to handle it, running forward, and it's a high winding punt that'll drop down at the 45. It's muffed again! It looks like this time Fresno City was able to fall on top of it after a 3.59 second, there you go. 3rd time's the charm there. And it does look like Fresno City was able to fall on top of the ball at the end of the play. Good field position for the Rams as they are just shy of the 50-yard line. The ball set down at the 47. Ball be marked down on the tip of the DVC midfield logo. It'll be 1st down and 10 for an offense that is churning here in the 2nd half. Last time out. A forced punt from just outside of the 40-yard line, and now they're delivered about 10 yards from that previous spot. Trujillo, stretch out to the left-hand side. That's Gaines Smith trying to work the sideline. Gaines Smith is leveled after a huge hit coming up at the 49-yard line. That's Jaden Price from his safety position laying the lumber.
Yeah, great read by Price. Able to come all the way from that safety spot to lay the hit.
And you're missing guys like Malachi Ward, who's over at UC Davis now. You need some big pickups. Smiley has had quite a few plays tonight. And at the free safety spot, same as last year, Price coming up to make the tackle. 2nd down and 7 from midfield. Another handoff And it was a read option in the backfield as Gaines Smith got caught up with Trujillo, and it just looked like nobody really knew where you wanted to go. So the Vikings will get a big tackle for loss. That's a loss of 3 on the play as Nico Bowler continues to leave his stamp on this game, forcing a 3rd down and 7 from Fresno City's side of the field.
Yeah, a great leap into the backfield by Nico Bowler. He read that play perfectly.
And maybe some cramps in this early going. This will be a typical trend you'll see in week 1. Some of these guys just, they're trying hard, but the conditioning wasn't quite there going into week 1, right? I've been there before. As Isaiah Nobriga hits the field, it looks like it was a cramp, but we won't speculate any further. So we'll take a break here on DVC Vikings Live, back on the other side of the break here with 2:53 remaining in this tied up 6-6 game. So Nobriga just cramping up on the play. He'll get some assistance from the terrific training staff here at DVC. And as he takes his time to get off the field, we're just about ready to see what's in store here. The ball is set on the far hash mark on the 48-yard line of Fresno City College. And they will face a 3rd down and 9 at this game, knotted up 6 apiece with 2:50 remaining. A pistol look for Trujillo. Fakes the handoff. It's a play action fake. Throws it right at the sticks. Brings it forward for the additional gain. Continues to fight forward out to the 40-yard line. The ball pops out. It's still out. It's alive. And now it's out of bounds, spotted at the 50-yard line. Wow, the Vikings did not give up on that play. It looked like they weren't going for the tackle when he got the ball right at the sticks, as Tyler Davis punched the ball away from Rollins right at the end of the play. And so I'm not exactly sure how you'll call this one. So I think it's going to be a 4th down from the spot because the Vikings never got possession of the ball. So the ball was fumbled just about at the 43-yard line of the Vikings. And then the Vikings swatted it back, so they're going to mark it where it went out of bounds. And the ball will be at the 47-yard line of the DVC Vikings, just past midfield, as with 25 seconds left, the punt unit will come out on the field. Ayala's coming out there, and the Vikings have to quickly swap. It looks like they were trying to get the Vikings out of position. Vikings do not have a man deep right now, as they're going to play the fake right now. And the late man comes onto the field at the very end of the play. It's a high, winding, end-over-end punt. That'll be fair caught as he was falling to his rear end at the 2-yard line, as Brian Pierce Jr. I don't think he was prepared for that one. You got to let it bounce if it goes anywhere inside of the 5-yard line. He came in late at the end of the play. And after a huge winding punt, 4.5 seconds by Julio Ayala, he flips the sides of the field. So the ball was punted down at the 44, and it was marked down at the 3-yard line. So a 41-yard winding punt will put the Vikings all the way in the shadow of their own end zone.
Yeah, very late substitution right there by Brian Pierce. He actually was still on the sideline. They didn't have a man deep, like you said, Max.
I thought they were just playing the fake. I didn't have time to count the man on the field, but in that situation, it's tough. A shovel pass over to the forehand side. It's the toss, breaks it loose out to the 10-yard line, and finally swung down by the shoulder of his jersey. Finally, a nice pickup on the run by Sean Davis. A flag at the end of the play as well. Davis went forward for a gain of 8 as he finally brought the Vikings outside of their own shadow of their end zone. And let's see if there's insult to injury as more flags coming to the field. It was like a shovel pass pitch out to the near hand side. And it's another unsportsmanlike conduct call. That's got to be the fourth of their fifth this evening, and that's on Ontario Thompson this time. So the Vikings, after one player, able to dig themselves all the way out of that hole, and the ball will be marked down at the 27. A net of 25 on the play. Or 24, I should say. 150 counting down. And this game tied up at 6 apiece. Up back off the left-hand side, the Vikings. Most of their receivers are on the short side of the field. Johnson rolling, Johnson throwing, Johnson just unable to get it over to Mikkel Ely. An incomplete pass. Once again, Ely is getting to the spot, but Johnson just not able to connect so far.
Yeah, McCall Ely with a really great route, and he's able to find some space around the 50-yard line. He leaped for it, but Johnson just hasn't been able to put it on the money.
And Ely's 6'3", he's a decent-sized receiver, so I mean he's just using every single last inch of his reach to try to get there. No dice.
Big receiver on the outside.
A handoff on a power, bouncing it to the outside once again, but wrapped up. A nice form tackle made by Quentin Johnson. And that was a gain of about 3 on the play, and the Vikings facing a 3rd down and long for the nth time this evening. Ball spotted down at the 29-yard line with 1:10 to play in the 3rd.
Yeah, the Vikings are starting to use their 1-2 punch as well, trying to get some other running backs involved.
And that's exactly what they'll do as they come out in a full backfield. Cribb off the right hip and Davis off the left hip with Jerry Johnson dotting the middle. Johnson, 3-step drop. Johnson fires over to Ely. Ely fighting, not able to get there. It looks like Ely was stopped actually a yard past the sticks. Great job by Ely. He continued to fight. He continued to churn. And that's a blessing for this Vikings offense right now, able to continue this drive after the struggles in this 3rd quarter.
And that's where that big frame comes into play right there for Ely. He's able to keep the legs moving and able to find the yard mark for the 1st down.
And they kept a blocker in the backfield, giving Johnson all the time to throw. It was successful on that play. And a pitch fake over the right-hand side, scraping down on the 4 hash marks, and the Vikings getting creative on their play calling. Get a 9-yard rush on the play with a pitch to Sean Davis. They faked the read option with Cribb. It was a quarterback keeper into a flip on the far-hand side. Just a great job running that motion option offense. With that, it'll bring us down to the 4th quarter break. Get your 4s up. We've got a knotted up game in week 1 of 3C2A action. 6-6, the Vikings and the Rams here on DVC Vikings Live. So back here on the field as we're just about ready to go into the 4th quarter of play, but we got another report from a sideline reporter, Colin Dolvan.
Yeah, thank you, Max. So down on the sideline, it sounds as if there's a sense of everyone has each other's backs on the sideline, and after a lack of offensive efficiency in that quarter, you could hear number 58, Logan Loy. He's saying, guys, we got to go, wake up. We need to do better. We need to get these runners more space.
And that's great, seeing some leadership, especially from a super young offensive line. Thank you so much, Colin, as we're back facing a 2nd down and short. Another sweep over to the left-hand side. Some patience. And when you needed 1, you got 4 on the play. And Sean Davis has seemed to be this guy to do it in this run. So Davis was blown up in the backfield a couple different times at the in the first half of play. But he's found some success in the sweeps, in the pitches, and in the running game. Using Cribb as a decoy and using Davis as the runner, the Vikings are finding something here.
Yeah, those two running back sets have been working for him. Kind of mixing it up a little bit and able to pitch it off to Davis. The 1-2 punch at Davis and Cribb.
And now the Vikings will come out, bunch formation out to the far-hand side for the near hash mark. Johnson is in the backfield with Cribb. It's a single back look this time. First down and 10. Handoff, Cribb sweeping to the left. And Cribb only about half a yard on the play. Just a bunch of defensive linemen coming up to stuff the hole. And it looks like Andre Love Jr. was one of the guys leading the charge. Jeremiah Shelton coming in to make the stop for the Rams as well.
And they go back to the single lone running back in the backfield, Cribb. And they get only about a half a yard on that one.
Yeah, at this point, I think DVC has the athletic advantage on the outside, so maybe keeping a guy inside to block and just giving you a little extra time to open up those deep routes might be the way to go. Johnson out of the shotgun, belt high snap, looking down the field. He whips it out to the near hand side, thrown behind, and it's broken up. Thrown right into double coverage as he tried to feed the ball over to Kevin Mliknek, the freshman out of Lafayette. Kevin Washington, the defender on the play, and the Vikings take the shot on second down and 10, so it'll be third down and long, 3rd and 10 from the 49-yard line, just on the other side of the field in Rams territory.
Yeah, that one was thrown into double coverage to Kevin
Mliknek.
And very lucky break for DVC right there.
3 receiver set. Johnson takes the snap. Johnson fires, and it's over to Ely. Ely has been the man on third down this drive. McCall comes up with a big catch of about 13 yards, and he moves the chains.
And that's what we've been waiting to see all night, is the connection between Johnson and Ely, and they finally connect there.
They're connecting when it's mattering at this point, and the Vikings finding some success on 3rd and long. And McCall, a big factor in that. The first team All-California player. And the Vikings with the 2-back set once again. Quarterback keeper, right-hand side. Shimmies trying to get past the defender and swarmed down. And just a nice play, reading the hips. Kevin Washington, we noted him before the game, and he made the tackle for no gain on the play.
Yeah, Kevin Washington's been involved on almost every play this drive. He's been a big guy for the Rams defense.
That's why he was so highly regarded by the coaching staff and the broadcasters for Fresno. A sophomore out of Miami Central. Vikings sending out that 2-back look once again with Cribb and Davis. 2 receivers out to the near-hand side as Yannick Berg is the widest receiver. Fling out to the flats. Cribb shimmies the sideline. And about a 5-yard reception on the play, and they'll actually bring it back out to the 30. The ball would actually be marked down at the 31-yard line, so another difficult situation to be in. Jerry Johnson's facing another 3rd down and long, 3rd and 7 with 12 minutes counting down here in this knotted-up game at 6-6 from the 31-yard line. So let's see, do you run the ball one more time maybe and try to set down a 4th down and short? I don't really know the distance of Zane Hall.
Like you said, they've gone to Mikel Ely twice on 3rd down this drive.
Sprinting out to the left, gets past the defensive end, flips the hips, throws it deep down the field off the fingertips of the defender. Mikel Ely had an opportunity despite the double coverage, and the Vikings will face a 4th down and long now. So a field goal from this spot would be, let's see,
And Ely comes off limping
a
on the play.
48-yard attempt from this spot, so it doesn't look like the Vikings feel comfortable with the long field goal attempt here as Ely, like you said, limping off the spot, so the Vikings will go for it on 4th down and 8. Brian Pierce Jr. comes in replacing Sean Davis, so it looks like the Vikings are going to go in possibly a spread here. Austin Hurts in the game as well as the play clock goes down to 0. It doesn't look like there's laundry on the field, so a timeout taken by the Vikings. 11:36 counting down in this 4th quarter of play, knotted up at 6-6 here in week 1 on DVC Vikings Live. So the Vikings come out after the timeout, 4th down and 8. It'll be a tight bunch pistol. 2 receivers stacked out close to the line on each side, and the move crib off sidecar left. Johnson, time to throw. Johnson rolling out. He's got plenty of room to run. Johnson takes it out to the 20. The near sideline, steps out of bounds at the 12. All the coverage rolled with the wide receivers, and Johnson just saw a wide open field in front of him, takes it himself, and that's a 1st down pickup for the Vikes.
Fantastic job by Johnson to realize there's space on the left side and take it himself on 4th down. Beautiful play.
19-yard pickup on the play, and the Vikings are setting themselves up in the red zone for the first time driving here on offense this game. Full backfield once again. Johnson pointing out the coverage. He's calling man-to-man. Handoff, Cribb. Cribb just lowering the shoulder, getting inside of the 10-yard line, and that's a pickup of 4 on the play. When I'm telling you, I've been talking about Cribb all night long. Bang, 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 break free.
Just keep pounding him the rock. He's going to break one out eventually. And that's exactly what they seem to be doing. They keep giving him the ball. Let's see if it works out for the Vikings.
3 yards officially on the rush. That's at the 2nd and 7 from the 9-yard line. 6-6 tied up here. Same formation as the swing Sean Davis into the flat now. Cribb bounces to the outside and just couldn't quite get that outside edge as the defensive back Noah Noyola comes up to make the tackle after about a gain of 3 on the play.
I
think he's actually going to be stopped right at that line of scrimmage, so I thought he got a pickup as the far side official was moving there, but no gain on the play officially, and it's a 3rd down and 7.
And Ely will come in for Yannick Berg after that cramping issue earlier in this drive, which is big on this 3rd down because that's who
he's been Mr. Reliable so far on 3rd down.
That's who Johnson's looked for. Let's see if he goes right back to him.
Davis off left, Cribb off right. Fumbles the ball for a moment, throws it back shoulder, and batted away. Great coverage on the play from the defender. It looked like that ball was going straight to Ely, but instead, Lance Salzan knocks it away. So in this situation, the Vikings might send out their field goal unit for the first time tonight. So it is 4th down, and the field goal unit will come out to the field. So from this spot, the ball is placed on the 7, so it's a 24-yard field goal attempt, and the Vikings, I think, just have to take this situation right now because, honestly, you got to take the lead.
And I'm a fan of it with the amount of
with the way this game has been going.
The way that the game has been going, points need to be on the board.
Zane Hill comes out, boots it away, and it's blocked. It's still on the ground, and it's recovered, going the opposite direction. Out to the far sideline, it's returned all the way out to the 40-yard line before being escorted out of bounds at the 41. Turner was the man that got there, picked it up, went all the way down the far sideline. And special team follies continue upon as there's an injured man for DVC onto the field. That looks like it's Zane Hall, the kicker. Lance Cezanne was the man that picked up the ball, took it all the way down to the 40-yard line. So the Vikings trying to get the lead with the field goal attempt, but this one was batted away, blocked down. And with 9:31 counting down, we are still deadlocked at 6. This is a difficult situation. So you do have 2 other punter kickers on the roster. Michael Vaccaro is one of the guys that we were talking about, the 6'2 freshman out of De La Salle High School. He is possibly somebody that could come in and take the kicking duties. We saw him warming up during the halftime break, getting some reps in. But Zane Hall has been pretty good tonight, man. He's been doing a good job on the punting. In the one situation that the Vikings got in the PAT situation, he sold the fake well enough, but this might hurt the Vikings.
Yeah, Zane Hall has been great tonight.
Yeah, so with that, we're going to take a timeout as we hope Zane Hall is able to get up under his own power. Knotted up at 6 apiece after the blocked field goal attempt. The ball will be spotted down at the 40-yard line, and it'll be Fresno City College ball on DVC Vikings Live. Zane Hall able to walk off on his own power, so that's a good sign. He's holding the ribs, so maybe a hit after the play. But so there are a few different kickers on the roster, the defensive lineman and punter Joshua Lyston, as well as number 83, who I talked about before, Michael Vaccaro. So let's hope that Zane Hall's able to continue this game because he's been doing a great job punting. But now the Vikings facing some trouble after that block kick. He'll be lined up at the 40-yard line, and Fresno City's looking to continue to run this game. Trujillo, a handoff right side to Gaines Smith. Gaines Smith through the first line into the linebacking core and a pickup of 4. Amari Cormier came back to make the tackle from his defensive line position. Gain of 5 on the play. Nope, gain of 4. 2nd and 6.
This is going to be a huge drive for the Vikings defense to be able to stop this run game and get the ball back just in time to score in the 4th quarter.
Man-to-man coverage across the board for the Vikings here as they look like they're going to send pressure. They do send the pressure right into a run. And a nice end-over-end tackle after a pickup on the play by Avion Williams. So that ball will be marked down at the 49-yard line after a 5-yard run on the play. Jaden Pierce came to make the tackle, and I believe that was actually Gaines Smith on the rush last time, so they're going to bring back in the bigger running back, Asuga. Vikings have held their water on 3rd and short so far in the second half of play, and with 8:24 counting down in this 4th, and a game knotted up at 4 apiece, they're going to have to do so here. At midfield, Vikings packing the box. Pistol, handoff, right side. And the sideways jump cut on the V of the DVC logo will bring the ball forward for the running back, Asuga, and that's a 1st down for the Rams.
Yeah, they bring the big running back, Asuga, in there. Just a big power back just to get that yard, and they get it.
6'2", 220 sophomore. So it looked like Trujillo has really found his groove with the assistance of the running game, and they'll line up in a 2-back pistol look now. 2 receivers set as well. And Trujillo pointing out the defense. Claps, hands it off. Nope, it's a play-action fake. Pressured, gets away from the first round, able to make a defender fall on the ground as he runs towards the far sideline, staying on his feet, continues to fight out to the 35, and a terrific pickup from the Pro Scout quarterback. A gain of 12 on the play as he made 3 different Vikings defenders miss, and Trujillo's got something going for him.
Believe that was Malik Viewins on the pressure. And he just could not bring Trujillo down. What a play by Trujillo to get outside the box, escape all pressure, and not only gain a 1st down.
7 minutes counting down here as FCC charging down the field. Claps, head high snap, a handoff once again, and a plenty of space right on top of the numbers out to the 10-yard line, fighting through the tacklers, brought down at the 2. A big run from Asuga.
Asuga's been there.
37-yard rush on the play.
Asuga's been their guy this second half. Gaines Smith and Asuga. And he's been huge for the Rams. Didn't get used much in the first half. The second half he comes in and he's delivered.
So it's going to be another heavy look once again. 2 tight ends off the right side of the offensive line, and the pistol look from the 3-yard line officially. 1st down and goal. Trujillo calls for the ball. Another handoff, and the space to go for Amarion Gaines Smith. And it's a 12-point swing here in the second half of play for the Rams of Fresno City. Vikings scored their first points in the first quarter of play, but since then, it's been a 12-0 hit from Fresno. Julio Ayala coming out to attempt the PAT once again. Last time out, Calabrian was able to handle a high snap, but it was a fire drill, so the Vikings looking to see if they can catch lightning in a bottle again. Snap is off, hold is down, kick is up, and that crosses the T on the PAT, so the second attempt is good for the kicker, and we have a 13-6 game with 6:09 remaining here in the 4th quarter of play here on DVC Vikings Live. Ellis Dean and Sean Davis deep for the Vikings. As Ayala, who just pinned the PAT up, will boot it away right to left. This one's an end-over-end kick. That'll be fielded down at the 2-yard line. Taken right up the middle of the hash marks out to the 15-yard line. Veers to the far sideline, 20, and man, some great special teams plays in the second half as well for Fresno City College as the return falls short of the 20, and this one will be marked down at the 12. So difficult field position for the Vikings here as it was only a 10-yard return on the play.
With only 6 minutes to go in this fourth quarter, this is a huge drive for the Vikings just to put up some points and tie this thing up.
Yeah, you're going to need to dig deep here. I expect to see Mikkel Ely getting involved early on, and also I want to see some of the other guys. Elijah Alonso got a target on the night and got a 1-yard catch. Brian Pierce Jr. has had some opportunities, but just not quite able to get it going. And a reverse handoff and the fancy footwork, not quite able to buy any space for the Vikings as they try to run that counter, but Fresno's been on top of it here. A loss of 1 on the play. That was a handoff over to Sean Davis.
We don't officially have the stats, but I do believe, like you said, Max, that the Vikings are still in the negative in the rushing category.
I think after that last drive where they drove all the way down the field for that field goal attempt, I think they are in the positive now, but I mean, the fact that we're even having this discussion shows that it's a little bit of a difficult situation.
It hasn't been working tonight. See if they can switch it up.
Keep it going. Davis in the backfield, out of the shotgun with Johnson. Johnson looks near side. Sidearm sling, and a fumbled handoff, or a fumbled swing, basically, by Sean Davis as he catches the ball for only a gain of about half a yard as Sizan comes up for the tackle there. No gain on the play as, man, this has just been a great showing in the second half for this Fresno City College defense. Only really one successful drive in the second half for the Vikes. Really not much going on overall.
Like you mentioned, dig deep on this third down.
Trips out to the far side. Johnson, third down and long. He's been money so far. Oh, and this one's batted into the ground. Just a ball that sailed a little too low. I think that was a miscommunication. Just threw it right into double coverage of the zone there. And the Vikings, with 4:40 left on the clock with 2 timeouts, will have to boot this one away. But remember, Zane Hall went down last time out, so I don't know who's going to be the punter now. And it looks like Zane Hall will come out to boot it away again. But at this point, you are gambling. It's like you can't go for 4th down here because you're so far into your zone, and you still have an opportunity. But, man, your defense really hasn't shown the ability to stop the run consistently so far not. So they're going to have to do something different. They're going to have to dig deep. But first of all, they're going to have to punt it away with Zane Ho got injured on the last play.
Yeah, you're really going all in on your defense here in this situation.
And Zane Ho's going to run forward. He's going to run out to the near sideline and shimmy at the 25-yard line as he falls down. This one's going to be right at the sticks. They mark it down at the 27. So the injured kicker from the last play runs the fake and picks up the first down. Wow.
Zane Hall saves the drive for DVC. He took the hit, and he's the hero on the sideline right now.
Woo. Talk about a gutsy play call. A fake punt with the straightaway run with your punter from inside of your own 15.
And I don't believe that was planned either. I think it was just heavy pressure by the Fresno City line, which caused him to roll out, and he had no option but to just take off.
Live to fight another day as Zane Hall comes to the trainer's table after the play. Yeah, I don't think that was intentional. You're right, because he is laboring there on the table. And he gets some love from his team. So we'll have a stoppage in play here as the Vikings take the timeout. And with 4:04 remaining, they're going to value every single possession here on DVC Vikings Live. So the Vikings We're deep in their own end zone. The pressure from the Rams forced the injured punter still going out there to hit it. Zane Hall to run the ball, and fortunately for the Vikes, able to do so. Jerry Johnson pressured, rolls out to his right. Eyes continue to stay downhill as he throws a ball caught right at the sideline, and that's brought in by Yannick Berg. The freshman out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, was wide open alongside the 45. He brings it in, able to get the toes touchdown on the sideline, and the Vikings are rocking and rolling.
That gets the momentum going for sure on the Vikings sideline. Yannick Berg finds a spot, and Johnson delivers.
30-yard pitch and catch on the play, and the Vikings are at the 41-yard line trying to tie things up. 13-6 is our game, 3:34 remaining. Gavin Cribb off the right hip. Johnson, three-step drop, time to throw, rolls out, spins out to his left-hand side. He's pressured, he releases the ball, and it's too far ahead. Elijah Alonso was the nearest receiver, but the heavy pressure of the defensive line forced Johnson to spin around once, spin around twice, and then finally lets this ball go for an incompletion.
Johnson's just facing heavy pressure from the Rams line right now. The receivers on the Vikings are going to have to get open just a little bit faster.
I mean, he had the time to throw initially, and then he rolled up into the pocket where it collapsed on him, so maybe stay a little bit further back, take a few more deep drops back or something. Just buy some more time anyway how possible. Bunch out to the far-hand side. Johnson takes the ball, throws it, and that's a wet noodle of a ball that falls flat into the ground as he tried to throw it out to Yannick Berg. And once again, third down and long.
Yeah, another ball by Johnson that just wasn't ready for the receiver. It's a little low, and the Vikings are going to face a third down here.
And honestly, the way that this game has been going and the situation of how it is, I think the Vikings are in four-down territory all the way through the rest of this game. One timeout in their pocket, 3:20 counting down in the fourth, trailing by 7 here against the Rams of Fresno City College. A lofting snap, pressure comes late, a throw to Ely, and Ely snags it out! Full Superman brought in at the 20! 21-yard reception as Mikel Ely made a massive play on third and long.
Mikel Ely is the savior on third down again. He dives for it, and he comes up with it. What a throw by Johnson, and what a catch by Ely.
Fourth time this second half of play that McCall has really gotten the Vikings out of a difficult situation. On third and long. And a handoff to Cribb as the Vikings work in the rushing game, but they weren't quite able to get the Rams to jump on the play here. Or pardon me, to buy in on the pass on the play as the defensive linemen were able to stay put and only force it for only a gain of 1 on the play as Jeremiah Shelton makes the tackle. Clock counting down, 2:26 remaining, 2nd and 8. The Vikings' only score of the game came off a muff punt, and it was a 5-yard pitch and catch from Johnson to Cribb. Johnson out of the shotgun once again, and it looks like possibly a jump offside from a receiver. There's a pointing battle between Mikel Ely and Trey Carr as they were lined up man-to-man across from each other. And it is a false start. Did you get a number on that play? Couldn't quite hear what they said. It's definitely a false start on the Vikings. I wasn't able to quite get a number here, but it'll be 2nd down and 14 after the play.
I do believe it was one of the receivers, Max. Didn't get a number on that one, but a little jumpy at the line.
Shotgun spread with the tight end off the right side. Cribb in the backfield. Johnson throwing across the middle. That's brought in at the 4. Elijah Alonso running the post, and he snags it through contact.
Takes the hit after the catch and is able to deliver for the Vikings all the way down to the 2-yard line, and the Vikings are in prime position.
Under 2 minutes to play here as we've got a 7-point game, 13-6. 1:43, 10 seconds left on the play clock as the Vikings break the formation in a spread from the 2. Maybe a read option from Johnson to Cribb here as Cribb lines up off the left hip. It is a read option. It is a handoff, and Cribb falls short at the 1-yard line.
Just tripped up right before he gets into the goal line. Gavin Cribb had a wide open lane.
Do it again, right?
So close.
Do it again. You spread them out. You force the defense to play the pass first, and yep.
You have such a good back in Gavin Cribb at the 1-yard line, only on second down. Absolutely, Max. Go right back to him.
The run game has not been too successful, but the Vikings will force it now. Quarterback keeper, left side, breaks through one tackle, a dive forward, and on the second burst, he falls down onto the ground. So under 50 seconds to play as Jerry Johnson keeps it on the read fake. And now the Vikings need to really hurry up on the field here. They only have one timeout in their pocket. They do not want to use it. Under 1 minute to play in this 13-6 game, and it looks like the Vikings will have to burn the final. We'll keep it here for the timeout. And the 7-point game as we go down to the wire in week 1, 3C2A football here on DVC Vikings Live. And, oh, man, this is difficult. The Vikings are fighting, they're clawing, they're trying to get in, but the running game has just not really been there for them tonight.
Yeah, they look for Gavin Cribb on that last one, on that quarterback keeper, and it was stuffed on both sides. If he handed it off to Gavin Cribb, there were Rams right there.
And then he kept the ball, which obviously broke one tackle, but still brought down in the backfield for a loss of 2 on the play. So a 2nd down and 1 turns down to a 3rd down and 3. And the Vikings, I mean, you got to get in the end zone here. Here and now, you got 37 seconds left, and you're down 7.
You got 2 plays to get into the end zone from 3 yards out, with multiple playmakers on this offense.
And another spread look for the Vikings here. They'll come out in the shotgun at the 2. Johnson looking towards the far sideline from the near hash mark 3. He takes the belt high snap. He throws it into the flats. It's Cribb! It's Cribb diving into the end zone! Cribb to the crib for the 2nd time this evening, and the Vikings are a PAT away from tying it up at 13.
Beautiful play call, able to get Gavin Cribb in the flats. And a wonderful dive, reaching for the pylon, and he gets it.
So the Vikings, last time they tried to kick it, turned into a blocked 27-yard field goal attempt. So Gavin Cribb stays in to be the holder here, and Dougie Silva will be the snapper to the kicker, Zane Hall, calling for the ball. Oh, and the jump offside, so that's a free play opportunity as the kick is up and good. I think they whistled this one dead before the play, though, so the Vikings will likely take the half a yard there, and then, I don't know. At this point, if you do bring it forward, it's half the distance to the goal line. Do you ever go for 2 in a situation like this?
I believe it's a false start on the Vikings,
Ooh.
Unfortunately. Nico Buller and a couple others made the hand motion, a false start, and that's exactly what the ref called. So we're going to move this kick a little farther back.
So it looked like he had plenty of leg on the play, though. So I don't think that should be too much of an issue, knocking on wood right now. So let's see if they take the timeout to ice the kicker, as Fresno City still has 3 in their back pocket. 13-2 game. Gavin Cribb, not much success in the running game, but man, he's gotten in when it matters. 2 touchdowns on the evening so far, and he will be the holder on the play. So a 26-yard PAT attempt from the spot, from the middle of the hash marks. Silva's snap is off, the hold is down, the kick is up, and we're knotted up at 13. A flag is in at the end of the play as well. We'll see what that is. But as it currently stands with 33.9 seconds on the clock, it looks like we might be heading in overtime.
It looks like Zane Hall might have stepped.
And they're going to wave the flag off. Zane Hall boots it forward. No doubt from the man of the drive. He got the huge 17-yard pickup on the punt. Got the drive to continue along. Some great plays by Ely. Some great plays by Alonzo. Cribb caps it off with the 3-yard catch for a touchdown. And we're knotted up at 13 with 33.9 seconds left. Are we sniffing overtime in this opening game of the season?
Zane Hall, have yourself a night tonight, as he's been huge for the Vikings.
I don't think a single special teams player, a single kicker will ever get as much love as he's gotten tonight. He's been doing such a great job punting that fake, obviously, and then nailing it in when it matters most. So Michael Runnels and Avion Williams will be the two out onto the field to return it deep. And the kicker, Mr. Zane Hall himself. Kicking it left to right. The Vikings finally getting their first score of the second half, and it comes at the 33-second mark. Hall lifting his hand, jots forward, boots it away with the right hand, with the right leg, and this will be a high angled kick that bounces down to the 21-yard line. It's a live ball, and the up back just continues to dive onto the ball to avoid any sort of situation, and that's Asuga Nomas once again. It's going to be first down and 10, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple runs and take this one into OT.
From the 25-yard line, from their own 25-yard line, maybe one shot if they get it. But like you said, Max.
You got 3 timeouts, though. That is something to factor in.
3.
And a veteran quarterback. I mean, this guy's been around the block. He's played 2 years at San Jose State. He's played a year over at Fresno State. He's been under the bright lights.
With the way their offense has been playing in the second half, you might as well try to get something with 3 timeouts in 33 seconds. So maybe set yourself up for a field goal.
The Vikings line up in a one deep set here as they look like they're going to play some man-to-man across the board. They're not going to play that soft zone that you typically might see, but I'm not surprised. That's the DNA of the Vikings here, as they might even send pressure. Snap is off to Trujillo. He rolls out to his right-hand side. He's going to throw it, well, short. Looked over to Tabari Rollins, but he short-skipped it about 5 yards short, as we're hearing some of the coaches over in the booths to the left of us. I mean, they've got to be at least 20 yards away, and they are screaming, yelling, and we're hearing them, I mean, loud and proud.
Marcus Nunez on the pressure, who delivered the hit on Trujillo. It took about 6 seconds off the clock. Only 30 seconds left. Still with those 3 timeouts, though, Max.
29.9 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter of play, and this game tied up at 13 apiece. Trujillo out of the shotgun. He'll roll out to his right. It's a sprint once again. Trujillo eyes down the field looking, throws it right at the sideline, and that's once again Rollins. He caught the ball at the 35-yard line and steps out of bounds for enough yardage for a first down, and there's 20.5 seconds remaining now. Layout with the coverage for the Vikes. The dime corner.
Good thing about that for the Rams is they don't have to take the timeout, get out of bounds, stop the clock.
And I know he hasn't had a lot of playing time, but having a guy like this running this drive who's been in this situation so many times, running scout offenses and running some difficult plays against very talented players, Fresno looking like they're betting on their veteran. 2 receivers out in the pistol set. Fakes the handoff. Trujillo throws it, lofts it, brought in at the 40. Thrown into nearly triple coverage as the Vikings had that cloud coverage, but the defensive backs were just off the same page. Tabari Rollins, the sophomore out of Parker, Florida, will set them up at the 40-yard line with 15.8 seconds remaining. Tanner Smiley came up to make the tackle at the end of the play. And oh, buddy.
Tanner Smiley just a little bit behind. Tabari Rollins came up behind him and tried to make a play, but just a great catch by Tabari Rollins in the middle of the field. 2 timeouts with 15 seconds.
I do not know the leg that Julio Ayala has under him. He was 20 for 20 from PATs and 2 for 3 in his high school career. He did play soccer, so you know he possibly has a boot on him. I mean, soccer players typically do have that, no? I don't know where the target is, but with 2 timeouts left in the pocket, the Vikings need to basically stop the bleeding immediately. 2 timeouts in the pocket of Fresno, I should say. So the Rams will line up between the hash marks on the D of the DVC Viking midfield logo, I should say. And it'll be first down and 10 from the Vikings 40. Vikings in a too-high set. Up back off the right side, and the pistol look for Trujillo once again. Trujillo with the play fake. Trujillo, time to throw. He's going for it all. And is it brought in? It brought in right at the goal line. Double coverage over the top. It was a low ball thrown to Josiah Aon, and Aon comes back for the ball, and with 9.6 seconds left, he makes the snag and scores 6. Pardon the French as the Fresno City coaches storm out of the booth here. So with 9.6 seconds remaining, the unthinkable has happened. Trujillo marches all the way down the field and drives it 75 yards to the end zone for a touchdown. Julio Ayala looking to knock down the PAT. The ball's falling onto the field. Ayala picks it up. He runs out to his right-hand side, so it's a 6-point game with 9.6 seconds left. And at this point, pitchy woo-woo time, right?
Yeah, Vikings are going to be desperate in these last 10 seconds. But, I mean, what a throw by Trujillo and what a catch by Ion in double coverage, like you said, Max.
So I will say this for the Vikings here. The Vikings have a lot of Polynesian players on the team, and in my playing time here, we had this thing called poly punt or poly special teams units where we practice that rugby setting. So I don't know if it's carried over with this new coaching staff, but hey, if there's any team to do it, possibly turn into a rugby scrum over here, and let's see if we can get a Sports Center top 10 play.
Yeah, you practice it all the time, just the opportunity that comes. It is rare, but
we've seen it before. Miami against Pittsburgh a couple years back.
Got to know what to do in these situations, and this is going to be one of those times for the Vikings. They're going to have to pitch it back to have a chance.
6-point game, 19-6, 9.6 seconds remaining in this game, and the Vikings need a miracle after a tremendous last drive from Trujillo. It'll be a high angle kick that'll be fair caught at the 20. No, it's muffed onto the ground. Falls on top of it as a big collision happens onto the ground. So the Vikings will burn about 2.3 seconds on the play, and they will send out their offense to try to do this hook and lateral rugby type of situation here. The ball will be spotted down at the 24-yard line with 7 seconds left. Maybe a quick out first and then go into that situation. But, I mean, you're going to need something special.
Yeah, we're going to need a miracle here from the Vikings. Down 6.
You've seen a miracle on one end.
About 76 yards all the way to the end zone.
I don't think you go Hail Mary here. I think you got to go hook and ladder. So the Vikings come out on a pistol trips look here. Alonzo, Cribb. Two of the receivers out in that set. Rolling out to the right-hand side. They will go Hail Mary here. Jerry Johnson fires it down the field, batted away, and that is it looks like there's going to be a holding call at the 31-yard line. So the ball was pitched up into the air. Continual flags flew into the field as Elijah Alonso cleared some space, and it looks like your bro Emerson might have held on the play. So just remember, yes, so it is pass interference on the defense. The ball will move forward 15 yards. It's not a spot foul in college football. And it looks like the Vikings might have one opportunity of untimed downs to see if they can pitch this one into the end zone. 15-yard penalty. The ball will be marked down at the 38-yard line. Johnson looking to prove himself. He talked about recovering from the shoulder injury. People counting him out saying he can't whip it anymore. He's got the opportunity to do it now. 61 yards till glory here in an untimed down after the pass interference call here.
We're going to get a timeout from Fresno City to regroup and make sure they got the right personnel out there. Same for the Vikings.
Yannick Berg comes back into the formation for the Vikings. And so you go Hail Mary, you don't go hook and ladder in this situation, and it pays off for at least one more untimed down.
And like you said, Max, this is the time for Johnson to prove that he's got the arm. That 15 yards forward could be the difference between the lateral or the Hail Mary.
And man, despite everything that went on and despite how messy, what an entertaining game in week 1. So the Vikes will come out with Cribb in the backfield. Surprising not to see an empty set, to be honest. I know Cribb's a valuable receiver in the backfield, but the Vikings come out in the pistol. Line Cribb up, right hip. Johnson's going to sprint out to his right. He's pressured. Johnson rolls forward. He lofts it, and this will be well short. This one is brought in by Alonso as he makes a big catch down to the 23-yard line, but the clock hits 0. Final score, 19-13, as Johnson just wasn't able to get it all on the ball this time. Elijah Alonso able to get some additional stats at the end of the game, but I don't think he cares about that right now. I think he cares about winning more than anything, and the Vikings tonight have fallen short. A beautiful 75-yard drive from Alec Trujillo to cap off the game there. It's been the running game all night long for Fresno City College, but when the chips were on the table with 3 timeouts and 37 seconds left on the clock, it was the Trujillo show as he drove all the way down on 4 or 5 big completions, and it was a beautiful snag by Josiah Aon, the 6'4 sophomore out of Buchanan, who caught the touchdown right in the front of the end zone, right on the D of the DVC Vikings logo. And man, a heartbreaker for the Vikes to start the season off here.
Yeah, just a lot of missed opportunities tonight. Just week 1 jitters, a couple things that they need to figure out, but also some bright spots tonight as well.
Yeah, you had a whole ton of opportunities with open receivers for the Vikings. I mean, there's been countless amount of times that Mikel Ely was open there. You saw a bunch of different plays where Brian Pierce Jr. was open up there. But, unfortunately, a little too little, a little too late. So, with that, that'll bring us to our final here. The Vikings drop the first game of the season. They fall to 0-1. And the Rams of Fresno City College, they get their first win of the season, avenging that 2022 season opener loss to the Vikings. And our final score of this one, a wonky 19-13. So thank you to my staff, Dave Lazama, as our camera operator, Ryan Schell as our broadcast operator, our spotter, Zane Massey, our sideline reporter, Colin Dolvan, our color commentator, Caleb Cranock. My name's Max Aggress, and I'll be joining you all season long here at DVC Vikings home games on DVC Vikings Live. So, a harsh start to the season, but the Vikings got a lot of room to grow here and a lot of opportunities to capitalize as they go to Butte next week before coming home to Shasta. We'll have the coverage of the Shasta game here, and I believe Butte has a broadcast if you don't want to take the tread out to that Chico area to watch that game. So until next time, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, horns up.